Howdy ho, chickadees. Happy Monday. It's a whole new week. Are we excited? I learned some things today. I was watching Little Miss Walk the Dog, Corey Richins, and I did not know Corey spent a lot of time on the phone with the IRS. That's new to me. I don't remember reading that in any of the pretrial documents or any of that coming up in the pretrial motion hearings. So either I spaced out on it, which is possible, or that's new. I feel like it's new. I feel like it was kept a secret. I didn't know anything about it. So I am definitely on the edge of my seat now. I feel like things are starting to come together a little bit in that case. But that's not why we're here tonight. We're here tonight because we are on day 10 of Dale Warner. If you are new and you don't know why Dale Warner is what he's being charged with or why we have a trial, it's because his wife Dee Warner's body was found in an anhydrous tank on his farm. Yes, it was opened. One end of it was opened. He wrapped her body in a blue tarp, chucked her in the tank, welded the end cap back on the tank, painted that bad boy, and now we know after prior testimony that we watched Saturday, he also put stickers back on that bad boy. And lo and behold, Dale baby, he left that one, his left middle finger. I mean, honestly, the man had a 20% chance of leaving a middle finger on those stickers. 20%. And that's what ended up getting left. Well, I mean, come on. Dale, you got to do better. You got to do better. We also learned that the stickers went on after the April 27th search of the property because we saw the tank re-welded, painted, but no stickers on it. Also had a different cover on the relief valve in the back. Different cover. It was a homemade relief valve cover because all the others have nice, pretty ones. And we watched him grab a scrap piece of metal when he got his hook and his chain and everything else. Oh, Dale. Oh, Dale. You got issues, dude. So that's kind of where we are up to today. Today has, it's about 4 hours, just under 4 hours. I am going to put us at 1.25. And I have good news on how we will get caught up on Wednesday. My plan on Wednesday is to start streaming at approximately 1:30. I fingers crossed is what I'm hoping to do. And we will stream all of the testimony from Tuesday on the afternoon, Wednesday, and then the evening Wednesday, we will do all of Wednesday's testimony, which will be at that point, day 11 and day 12. So you're not going to miss anything. We're only going to take Tuesday night off because I have a fundraiser that I have to go to. But we'll be back on Wednesday to catch it all up. You're not going to miss anything. So let me say hello to everyone. If you are new and you haven't subscribed, I don't know why you haven't. We have a grand time on my channel here. Thank my mod, Kelly. She's already telling us all we should get our snacks. Because there's only one witness today, y'all. Just one guy that's going to sit up there all day and answer the questions. I think we've seen him in court a lot because I think he's been sitting at the defense table and assisting with a lot of the digital evidence. So let me say hello to everyone. Thank Kelly for being such a great mod. And Livy, thanks for coming on back. I know Saturday was your first time. Oh, Felicia. And Dizzy, thanks for checking in to say hi. And Jillian is back with us again. Hello, my dear. Okay, I think I've said hello to everyone. We're about 10 minutes. Yes, you did say you'd be back, and here you are. I like a woman of her word. I think that's kind of everything we needed to know to get us caught up to speed for today. Oh, Saturday, we also had the disappointing Detective Greca. What a disappointment he was. So I'm not going to delay us anymore. How about we get into it? Let's do it, right? Get your notepads out too, in case you're taking notes. Something I need to make sure that I tell everyone. Law and Crime missed the entire morning session of testimony. So this is coming to you from WTOL Channel 11. It is out of Toledo, Ohio. If you are traveling, I highly suggest that you give WTOL Channel 11 a watch. But that's where we're going to get today's testimony because I didn't want us to miss the morning session, and Law and Crime had nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing. And so we're going to get it all. Here we go.
All Detective Lieutenant Daniel Drew.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury.
Yes, sir.
You can sit down.
You've already stated your name and spelled it for the records. I'm not going to have you do that again.
We did?
A little bit briefly.
Oh, I think I might need to know that. I guess he's just Detective Drew because I don't remember his first name. If you know in the chat, you can let me know. Drew I think is how he spells it, but I don't know. I don't remember him being on the stand in the past. Did I miss something? I'm just checking to make sure. Okay, no, I have no idea.
Last week about some of the things you did. Some of this may overlap. I'll try not to do that too much. You discussed taking the investigation over in August of 2022. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And prior to that, you were part of a task force?
Yes.
When you became involved in this case, did you know Dee Warner?
No.
Did you know Dale Warner?
No.
Did you know anybody involved with the case as far as citizens went?
No.
In approximately April or May of 2022, did you assist the Sheriff's Department in doing a search warrant for Munger Road property?
Yes, we returned to the farm for a search warrant at that approximate time.
Do you recall what that search warrant was for?
Yes, that search warrant was primarily focusing on the seizure and collection of electronic devices, phones, tablets, and computers.
Tell us everything.
Did you seize any items that day?
Yes, we seized approximately 100 computers, phones, and tablets from the residence.
At this point, had you ever recovered the phone that Dee Warner
I think so
possessed
too.
on
Felicia.
April 24th, 25th, 2021?
No.
What specific electronic items that you seized that day became important during this investigation?
The primary intention of serving that search warrant was to collect Dale Warner's iPad and iPhone. In addition, we had learned that Dale Warner had purchased a new iPhone after Dee's disappearance and put her phone number on it for purposes of the business. And that particular item was of particular interest to me also.
When you say put her phone number on it, what does that mean? How do you do that?
Essentially, he purchased a new iPhone that had never been used before by them, imported her information from the iCloud, and put her phone number on it from Verizon.
Oh.
You indicated Dale's iPad was of particular interest. Was that one of the items that you did seize?
That's correct.
And you indicated Dale's phone. How many phones did you seize of Dale Warner's?
I can think of at least 2 phones that we seized, his current phone at that time, and at least 1 that he had used prior. There may be additional prior ones, but I can't recall.
Okay. Did you recover the item with Dee's iCloud on it, the electronic device with Dee's iCloud on it?
Not initially, no, ma'am.
Okay. What do you mean not initially?
I was, for lack of a better term, it's a little bit uncomfortable when you're assisting another police agency because they're in charge still, but you're making recommendations as to what should happen. So in this instance, the sheriff's department's in charge, but I'm kind of there assisting. And I made contact with Mr. Warner near the dining room table, and we have a series of devices that we're collecting and seizing from the house. And I specifically asked him about this cell phone. I want the cell phone that has Dee's phone number on it, to which he gestures towards the table and indicates that we already have it. So the uncomfortable part is I'm not in charge and really in a position to challenge him on this to confirm. So I took him at his word at that time. But we later discovered that that was not the case.
How did you discover that?
I received a phone call. I can't remember if it was that same day or the next day. And it was Dale Warner calling to inquire about him being returned his iPad and iPhone that we had previously seized. But he was calling me from Dee's phone number.
Okay. And how long after you seized his electronic items did he call you?
I can't recall if it's the same day or the next day, but it was shortly thereafter.
Okay. And you indicated the number that came up was the number for Dee Warner?
That's correct.
All right. And what'd you do?
From there, I contacted my partner, Detective Sergeant Singleton. We returned to the Munger residence and made contact with Dale, inquiring as to that phone again.
And did you get the phone at that time?
Eventually, yes.
What do you mean eventually?
Upon making contact with Dale Warner and informing again that we needed to collect that device, he did not immediately cooperate and initially refused to do so.
Okay.
What?
But you said eventually, so you eventually left with that phone with her iCloud information on it.
That's correct.
What did you do with those electronic items once you recovered them?
Those devices were sent to what's called our CCU, or Computer Crimes Unit.
What's the purpose of that?
A witness from that unit testified last week. Essentially, they specialize in extracting information off of electronic devices and putting it in a format that allows detectives like myself to review.
Okay. And so do they put that in a case and then do they always send it to you?
It varies on depending on the investigator, but the majority of detectives in my department would obtain that information from the analysts that work there, and they themselves would review it. And there might be some back and forth with those analysts to ensure that they're understanding what's been given to them.
Okay. And when you send those to the lab, what do you get in return? What does the lab give you back?
They typically provide you with a thumb drive or a hard drive, depending on how large the device is, how much memory you need. And from that, you're provided a computer program that allows you to select different pieces of information that you want to view on the phone, text messages, calendar, emails, photographs, etc. So essentially, the computer program organizes things in this program similar to how you would find them on the actual phone.
Did you review any of those portable cases when you were conducting your investigation in this case?
Yes.
All right. Which ones?
I reviewed every portable case that was provided to me. There's, I couldn't tell you how many we had. There was a lot.
Wow.
In October of 2022, did you execute a search warrant for OnStar?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
I knew from reviewing Dale Warner's cell phone from his portable case that the sheriff's department had completed that at approximately 7:08 a.m. on 4/25 that he had accessed the OnStar application. And I was inquiring to OnStar as to whether or not they could tell me what he did from his phone in relation to that car. That was a particular interest to me.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
did you get those records back?
Yes, there was some back and forth with OnStar, but eventually we get those records after some time.
Did you have those records back when you interviewed the defendant on December 20th, 2022?
No, we received them from OnStar after that interview.
May 23rd, 20.
If you all followed the Alec Murdaugh case, it took them right up until trial time. Like, I believe they were in the middle of the state's, the state's case. And all of a sudden, all this OnStar data and information came in, literally in the middle of trial. So General Motors ain't real quick on the pickup there.
2023, did you interview Rob Brisky as part of this investigation?
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Through the investigation, we had good reason to believe that Dee Warner was involved in an extramarital affair with Rob Brisky. So making contact with him and interviewing him about his relationship with her and where he was during the time of her disappearance was of particular interest to us.
Did the information you have about the affair, was that a current affair?
No, we had no reason to believe it was going on at the
Current
time of her
affair.
disappearance, and we learned that it had ended months prior. The most recent could have been was months prior.
As a result of your conversation with Rob Brisky, what did you do?
I obtained a search warrant for Delta Airlines and confirmed that Mr. Brisky had purchased a ticket to Florida and I also obtained some credit card records to see that he had regular and consistent charges in the state of Florida at the time of Dee Warner's disappearance. I also spoke to another individual that said that she was with him the whole time in Florida.
From the time you get involved in April or May of 2022, throughout the course of the investigation, what's your focus?
Throughout my time in this investigation, it has been focused on finding Dee Warner. So that could be in a number of different ways. If she's alive and well somewhere, obviously we want to find her. If she's not alive, we still want to locate her. So essentially discovering what happened to her, what caused her disappearance, and where she physically was.
When you're looking for Dee Warner, describe the person you're looking for.
Dee Warner is approximately 5'3", weighs approximately 140 pounds, with blonde hair.
Throughout the course of your career, have you investigated suicides?
Yes.
Approximately how many?
In the multiples of tens, I wouldn't quite say 100, but numerous.
Okay. What about natural deaths?
Yes, probably a similar figure.
Homicides?
A little bit less, but a similar figure, yes, ma'am.
When you start doing these things to follow up, did you follow up on any of the defendant's statements regarding proof of life?
Yes.
Okay. What statements did you follow up on?
There were several things Dale Warner stated that we investigated. The one that we spent the most amount of time on was the statement that she had taken some money from the business and had disappeared on her own means and was living somewhere off of that money. We put a lot of time and resources into that portion of the investigation.
Did
Thanks,
you contact
Dale.
anybody for assistance as part of that?
Yes.
And who did you contact?
I was put in touch with an agent with the Secret Service. His name is Ryan Heathouse. He specializes in locating missing persons through what we would refer to as a search for life, as well as working with local state analysts for similar type of searches.
And doing those searches, did you find anything to lead you to Mexico or Jamaica or anywhere else outside of Michigan?
No.
What else did you investigate?
As far as Mr. Warner's statements?
Correct.
Another statement he had made was that Dee Warner had a prescription drug problem, and perhaps that had something to do with her disappearance.
What did you do to investigate that?
There were several things that I did to look into that matter specifically. One, I did search warrants and reviewed her Blue Cross Blue Shield usage, which is what her insurance coverage for her prescriptions, as well as her CVS records where she primarily filled those prescriptions. Separately, I reviewed records from something that's called MAPS. MAPS is a database that's used by healthcare providers and pharmacists to ensure that people aren't going to multiple doctors to get the same type of drug. It's something to help prevent people from abusing prescription drug programs. You can't go to Dr. A, B, and C and get oxycodone or Vicodin from each of them.
Okay, and where did
Oh,
your
don't talk about the
investigation
oxy.
with the pills lead you?
I found nothing that would indicate any signs of abuse of any scheduled narcotics.
What other statements of Dale Warner's did you follow up on?
We put a lot of time and investigation into the things that he did on the morning of 4/25.
Okay. I'm going to go back just a little bit. Did you investigate the statements about a second phone?
Yes.
All right. What did you do to investigate a second phone?
Dale Warner's statements that Dee may have had a secret phone was of particular interest to us because as her primary phone showed no communications with anyone that would lead us to believe that she summoned someone to come and get her on 4/25/21. So discovering if this other phone existed and if she could have possessed it was of particular interest to us. So through several search warrants, I did several things to try to obtain this information. There is something called a Google geofence. A geofence is essentially where, as a detective, I can draw an imaginary box over any location. And I can tell Google, I want you to tell me any device that you have connected inside of this box. In order for Google to have a record of that, you'd have to be operating a Google application on your phone or on your tablet, whatever that device is, and be consenting to that type of data transmission. That's in no means foolproof. For instance, if I were to put one over the courthouse right now, I probably would not get everyone's cell phone that's in this building currently. But through that search warrant, I was not able to discover any device that could be the alleged secret phone.
What other search warrants did you do to look for that second phone?
I also did a search warrant for something that is called FOG. FOG is more commonly known as advertiser ID. So all of us that have a cell phone, we essentially have been given an advertiser ID number. This is a very long number that basically keeps your identity a secret, but your phone is collecting information about where you go, the websites you go to, where you travel, and
That's where
advertisers
they
buy
get
this
it.
information so you can be targeted with specific ads. So similar to a geofence, I can
Yeah.
draw a box over a specific area to see if I can
Yeah.
discover this unknown
Y'all drive
device.
by a Burger
That
King
is
and then
less
get a
reliable
Burger
than
King
Google,
ad.
but that is something we employed here, and we also did not discover a phone through those means.
Did you do anything else to look for this second phone?
Yes, because I had access to Dee Warner's cloud information, her iCloud. I had a volume of her emails and other contacts, and I searched those extensively to see if there was any communication she had where she signed up for another device or had purchased another phone, and I was unable to find any communication that led me to believe that.
Dee didn't have
Additionally,
a second phone.
I also
We
learned that
dabbled
through
in
her
that.
extramarital affair, she used her primary phone number for that communication with that person.
She didn't even try to hide it on another phone. She didn't pull any crazy Corey Richin stuff with the separate blue iPhone. She was like, I'm cheating on you. I'm not going to try to hide it like everybody else. It's in my phone. All right. I'm not going through all that mess. I love it, Dee. Oh, you are my spirit animal.
Why was that important to your investigation?
In my experience, the assertion that somebody may have a secret phone could be indicative of someone having an extramarital affair. So for someone to have an extramarital affair, but be utilizing their everyday phone number that everyone else would have, would indicate that that secret phone is less likely to exist.
Hey y'all, something else. I put a goal on the live today. I don't know if you can see it or not, but if I get 5 super chats in the amount of time that we're live streaming this evening, I'll host a members only on a case that is important to me. So I don't know if you can see it or not. You can let me know in the chat, but that's the goal. 5 super chats gets us. I'll do a members only live stream.
During any of the interviews with Dale, did he mention that Dee was sneaking out in the middle of the night?
No.
Okay. And if you're investigating a missing person, is that important information to know?
Absolutely. That would be an important piece of what I would call someone's pattern of life.
Last week, we saw items that were seized by the FBI, and in the exhibits 179 through 183, exhibit 192 and 193, which were the pink planner, the loose sheets, and the black planner. He indicated in there on March 21st, 2021, that Dee Warner had snuck out in the middle of the night, correct?
Yes.
All right. Same thing on March 23rd, 2021, correct?
Yes.
And both of those had a time frame of after 2 o'clock in the morning, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you do anything to look into that claim?
Yes. As viewing that in Mr. Warner's notes, I did a comparison for the usage of the OnStar application and saw that he did not check her location at those times, which I found to be interesting.
I'm going to show you people's 224.
Okay, we got to get to the bottom of this. So I don't know why this isn't working. I had clicked the goal and I put it all in here, and I click on start the goal. Hang on just a second, all. And I click start goal. I don't know why it is. Oh, it should be there now. I don't know what happened. I set it all up there. So you should be able to see it now because I can see it on my end here. So yay. Okay, everybody can see it. And hello, Melissa. Thanks for coming on in. I know the pesky day jobs. Man, oh man. All right. I am going to hop him back just a little bit here because I was distracted.
Yes, ma'am.
And did you do anything to look into that claim?
Yes. As viewing that in Mr. Warner's notes, I did a comparison for the usage of the OnStar application and saw that he did not check her location at those times, which I found to be interesting.
Thank you, Kelly, for the $5 super chat, getting us bounced right out on this right out of the gate. So thank you so much. And I still feel like I'm missing something here.
Did you do any
So
of those?
I'm going to go back.
21st, 2021, that through 183, Exhibit 192 and 193, which were
Okay.
the pink planner, the loose sheets, and the black planner.
Oh,
He indicated in there on March 21st, 2021, that Dee Warner had snuck out in the middle of the night, correct?
Yes.
All right. Same thing on March 23rd, 2021, correct?
Yes.
And both of those had a time frame of after 2 o'clock in the morning, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you do anything to look into that claim?
Yes. As viewing that in Mr. Warner's notes, I did a comparison for the usage of the OnStar application and saw that he did not check her location at those times, which I found to be interesting.
oh,
I'm going to show you people's 224, which is the OnStar record, SRT 110, page 78.
how weird.
Is that
Yeah,
the record
you
that you're
two
referring to that you looked
doing
at?
some
That's right.
crazy stuff. Oh boy, here we go. Oh, and it's gone just as quick as came up there.
Again, in the notes from the FBI, the pages that were seized from Dale Warner in October of 21, the defendant has March 21st, 2021 in those notes after she snuck out, drug dealer, question mark. Has defendant ever mentioned anything about a drug dealer to you?
No.
Okay.
Well, yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. To you or during the course of the investigation or?
Well, I guess I might maybe paraphrasing. He didn't use the term drug dealer. I think he used the term drug cartel.
Okay. And when was that
What?
mentioned?
That was in the interview with me in December.
Okay. Explain what you mean.
When detailing what he believed happened to Dee, his wife Dee Warner, he stated that he believed that she escaped to Florida or somewhere near the border and had escaped on a secret $10 or $20 boat ride and was living in Mexico or Jamaica with the drug cartel.
Right, because
Anything
of
else about any local drug
the
dealers in
cruise
Michigan?
ship dude.
Not that I recall. No, ma'am.
During any of Dale Warner's interviews, did he discuss Dee having nightmares or talking in her sleep?
No.
Did the defendant ever mention during the whole course of the investigation that Dee was scared to be by herself?
No.
Did he ever mention that she would run to the window or door anytime a car went by or pulled in?
No.
Did he ever mention that Dee always said someone was watching The Office on the Hill on Carson?
No.
Again, all of these things being in his loose leaf pages, his notebooks and journals, do you think that would be something important to relay to an investigator investigating his missing wife?
Objection, speculation.
I don't think so, Shardy
other question.
Pants.
Did he ever mention anything? Did the defendant ever mention anything to you about Dee being paranoid?
Yes.
Okay, and what was that?
He made a statement during one of his interviews that when asked about tracking the Hummer, using the device in the Hummer, that Dee was just paranoid.
Did he mention he was not in fact tracking her?
That's correct. That was a statement about that device.
Wow.
The black
Gaslight
book
any?
that the FBI last week testified to, that was the text thread between Zach and Dee, Exhibit 191. Do you recall that item?
Yes.
Did you look into that item? Did you read those?
Yes. I observed that in one of Dale Warner's devices. I can't remember if it was his iPad or his iPhone. I can't recall.
Okay. And when did you observe that item in the phone?
When did I observe it? Or
I apologize. Let me reword that. When did you observe that item in his Dale Warner's device? You didn't say phone. I said that. I'm sorry.
the date that I saw it or the date that it was in the phone?
The date that it was in the phone first.
It was placed on the device in December of 19.
All those years before. What a turkey.
Detective Singleton testified that at some point you both came up with a theory about welding. Can you describe that to me?
Yes, there was a video clip of Dale Warner in what we refer to as the old shop, or building number 1, in which he's looking for something near welding equipment, and as a car drives by, he moves to the side behind a truck and ducks down.
He hid. He hid. We
So
all
is
saw
there
it.
anything else that came to your mind when you're thinking of this welding theory?
Specifically with the date and time that it happened, we were just suspicious of what he would be doing with welding equipment on that particular day, the day that his wife was missing.
Okay. Did you, at this point, when you come up with the welding theory, do you remember when that was?
We first started assisting in March or April of 22, and we took over full-time beginning of August of 22. It was sometime in between there, but I don't recall specifically.
Were you still assisting the sheriff's department at the time?
That's correct.
Did you
Yeah.
notify, well, who was the officer in charge of the case at that time?
Kevin Greca.
Did you notify Kevin Greca that you believed that welding was involved?
No.
Why not?
Kind of going back to what I described as kind of the awkwardness when I'm at the dining table with Mr. Warner. It's not my investigation. I'm just making recommendations on what I've seen from their investigation. So I wasn't entirely sure it would be appropriate for me to air that type of opinion. And separately, we were very conscious of the fact that somehow information was being leaked from the sheriff's department. So I wasn't totally sure who I could trust there, to be honest with you.
Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh my. And who do you all think it was that was leaking to old Dale baby? I think we have hit the nail on the head as to why Mr. Greca was like, deuces, I am not going to come testify because you might find out I was doing some shady stuff. And that's also why he had a little memory issue. I don't recall. And I promise you, I am going to get some new emojis for all of you members. I'm going to have my son work on that for me because I don't have a ton of time. But one of them is going to be, I don't recall. So, wow. So he was like, I didn't really want to tell him what we were doing because I didn't trust the man. Wow. Whoop. There it is.
When you say information is being leaked from the sheriff's department, do you know if it was from the sheriff's department or do you just know it was law enforcement?
I know it was law enforcement.
Okay.
Wow.
Did you ever ask the defendant about welding during your December 20th, 22 interview?
No.
Why not?
One, we still didn't have any reason to, it wasn't this aha moment as my partner described it. It was just something that was peculiar. And in every homicide investigation I've worked, there are certain facts that only the culprit would know about. And so you want to keep those pieces of information very close to your chest because once you say it, then everybody could know it. So welding specifically, if it was involved, that wasn't something we were comfortable with confronting Mr. Warner with based on the limited information we had at the time.
Wow.
After you interview the defendant in December of 22, do you ultimately end up doing some large scale searches?
Yes, in May of 2023.
Okay. And again, approximately how many acres did you search?
I believe it was over 3,000 acres, but I don't have an exact number.
What land did you search? Whose land?
We primarily searched land that was owned by Dee or Dale Warner and or land that they had contracted to do farming with at the time of her disappearance in 2021.
When you're doing these searches, how are you doing them procedurally?
We separated the areas into what I would call primary and secondary areas. So the primary areas were places that we had information to believe that Dee could have went there for some reason at that particular time, around that time, or that Dale Warner had gone to those areas at that particular time. The secondary areas were the remaining pieces of property that were on that list. And the intention here is, through my time of investigating natural deaths and even suicides, when people are going to commit suicide, they typically go to some place that's comfortable for them. So in our mind, we wanted to make sure that we went to all of these properties to ensure that she didn't
Makes sense.
she didn't come to stop living on one of these pieces of property and was just laying there still undiscovered.
When you're doing these searches for the approximately 3,000 acres, did you go by yourself?
No, this was an operation, a detail that had 130 Michigan State Police personnel involved.
Did you use any equipment to aid in the searches?
Yes, depending on the specific parcels, we use ground penetrating radar, metal detection, some aviation, FLIR devices. We did some probing with cadaver searches. We did article searches and eventually did some excavation in selected areas.
Ground penetrating radar, what's that?
Ground penetrating radar is a device that essentially sends signals through the ground and can detect if there's any disturbances beneath the top layer of surface. So for instance, if I were to dig a hole and bury a big rock and then put dirt back on top of it, that would show up as an anomaly using ground penetrating radar, which would be a sign of disturbance beneath the earth.
And I believe you also said FLIR.
That's correct.
What is that?
FLIR is a device that essentially detects the difference between temperatures of two different objects. So for instance, on a cold winter day, if I were to look at your house through a FLIR camera, the ground, the sky, parts of the house would appear very dark, but the windows and doors would look a little bit brighter because there's probably heat coming through those areas. So it's essentially going to highlight a difference in temperature between two objects.
And I believe you said article searches. Can you explain what that means?
Yes, so you heard some testimony from Trooper Jack Taff, who was a canine handler. We deployed cadaver dogs, but also normal search dogs for article searches because we were looking for several items that were missing with Dee Warner.
What items were you looking for?
She was known to be missing with her purse, her phone, her passport, her driver's license, what is referred to as her go bag, which had some makeup and hair products in it.
And then you indicated metal detection.
Correct.
What were you using?
We were using numerous different handheld metal detection devices on those searches.
Okay. Why?
We were still operating on the assumption that she could be welded inside of something and that it could be buried.
And now you're thinking buried. Now you added the additional buried. Why do you think she's buried at this point?
Aside from the copious amounts of land that Mr. Warner had available to him, he also had numerous pieces of heavy machinery. It would be easy to dig a hole and bury something.
Oh, that's true. I didn't even think of that myself.
I had discovered a Google query on his phone. I'm sorry, on his iPad.
On
the
okay.
iPad.
And why did that
How to dispose of a
Google
1,000
query make you
gallon
think that
propane
it was
tank.
underground?
The specific thing that was queried through Google on his iPad was, I'm slightly paraphrasing, but what to do with a 1,000-gallon IP tank. So the information I had in front of me from that portable case we discussed earlier is it shows me specifically what was searched. And in this instance, I also had a link to what was eventually clicked on. When I clicked on that link and viewed the video, it was essentially instructions showing you how to bury a tank of that size.
Well. 3 holes in the
I
ground.
believe you indicated that you, as part of these searches, you went to areas where you knew the defendant was on the morning of April 25th, 2021.
That's correct.
And how do you know that? How do you know where he was?
Aside from the statements that he provided, we also got information from John Deere through a search warrant. The particular device he was operating that morning through John Deere, they collect geographical information every 30 minutes. So if you were to start this specific spray at 7:58 a.m. and turn it off at 9:02 a.m., you're going to have a GPS coordinate at 8, 8:30, and 9.
Based on the records that you reviewed for John Deere, where did you search?
By this.
The priority areas based upon that, there was a property just south of the residence, what's been referred to as Leroy Sealers, where he did some spraying for a short time, and also a property in Onstead and a property in Brooklyn.
Describe, is this all farmland that you're searching?
Wow.
The vast majority of it. Some of these plots of farmland would have
Yeah.
a lining of trees on one perimeter, or I can think of
Holy
one particular
smokes, John
area
Deere.
that has like a cell phone tower in the middle, and underneath it are big boulders piled up underneath. But the majority of this land is tillable farmland.
Were there any bodies of water on the land you were searching?
Yes.
Okay. What types of bodies of water?
These pieces of property had little runoff creeks, streams, ponds, bogs. There were a few properties that were maybe not a part of this search, but almost as big as a small lake.
And you indicated that that was in the first week of May 2023.
That's correct.
And I believe Detective
Hey!
Singleton testified about the searches in May of 2023. Is that the same search that he testified to?
That's correct.
All right. And so May 4th, Detective Singleton indicated that you guys went to the Paragon Road property on the north side of the road. Do you recall?
Yes.
Did you ever search the south side of the road on Paragon?
No. Well, when we executed that search warrant to excavate the north side of the road, I'm near certain I stepped foot on the south side of the property and looked around, but simply just because we were there and it was the same parcel. But we did not do an extensive search at that time.
And at the time that you go to the Paragon Road property, are you still operating under the assumption that she is underground somewhere?
That's correct.
Oh my
In
goodness.
January of 2024, did you return to the Munger Road property to do some type of reenactment?
Yes.
For what?
Specifically at that time, I wanted to see what you could do specifically with the front end loader, or also known as a JCB. Those two things are the same. If you were to pull it to that back door. Additionally, we did some experimentation with Dale's commercial sprayer that he was driving that morning. That's separate. We did some experimentation with a separate sprayer of a similar nature somewhere else.
I'm going to show you People's Exhibit 122. Was that part of your January 2024?
Oh.
Yes. So that is the exact
Oh.
JCB that Dale owned on 4/25/21.
Oh.
Why is it located here?
That is where Dale Warner indicated that he parked it when he returned to the house.
When did they say they did this experiment? I missed that date because that's snow. If you heard the date and I spaced out on it, it's my Monday has Mondayed hard today. So yeah, I'm doing my best. I am definitely struggle bussing.
People's 123. What's that?
That is the same
Look
position it was in the
at
previous photo,
that.
but in this instance, I took the photo from the side to see the bucket. I should note the bucket was capable of getting all the way up to the door, but our operator was a little worried about leaving some damage behind, so we just got it here instead.
Uh-huh. I bet.
You also indicated you did some kind of reenactment with a John Deere sprayer.
Yes.
Okay, and why did you do that?
Oh.
For two different reasons. Are you referring to when we used a sprayer that was not Dale Warner specifically, or specifically his sprayer?
You mentioned it.
I located someone
Hey.
totally unrelated to this case that had the exact same commercial sprayer that Mr. Warner did. And I was curious to know if you could travel the distance necessary and spray the ground necessary in return in the time frame that he left initially on that morning. So essentially, he leaves the first time, states he goes to Leroy Sealers, sprays 10 to 12 acres roughly, and comes back. I was curious to know if you could do that exact thing in that time frame.
Okay, what'd you find?
We found that that was possible and within the allotted time necessary to do so.
Okay. At some point in time, you start looking into tanks. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And approximately when is that?
That is June of 24.
Okay. And
Oh.
what specifically were you looking for when you say when you're looking for tanks?
At that time, I felt as
The reason I say 2 months, everybody, is I don't know if you remember, but Dee's remains were found in a tank in August of 2024. So they started to flesh out this particular this tank theory of theirs starting in June of 2024. I'm curious if he's going to tell us outside of the iPad googly search why they were pointed in that direction.
so we had exhausted the type of searching that we could do. So to revisit this welding theory, I decided to try and discover what metal objects were on the farm at the time of 4/25/21 that could have disappeared and somebody would not notice. So in other words, if she was put inside of something metal and welded, what could have been used that people wouldn't have reported, hey, wait a minute, this is missing now, which ultimately led me to the search for anhydrous ammonia tanks.
So at this point, have you given up looking underground and now shifted to above ground?
I wouldn't say that we had given up on that, but we had done so much searching beneath ground that aside from a particular tip coming in or someone discovering a new piece of information, those would be the only two things that would move us to do any more digging, if that makes sense.
Okay. As you're searching, when you decided to search for anhydrous tanks, was there anything you had to do to prepare to do that?
Yes.
What did you have to do?
I had a very primitive understanding of what anhydrous ammonia was. The extent of my knowledge on it was simply from my time in the police academy when they show you how dangerous it can be if you inhale it, and it can cause death. So as a road trooper, they want you to be aware of that in case you encounter a crash and that gas is involved. So knowing that, I had to find a way, if I were to find a tank and it had some of that gas in it, I had to find a way to empty that gas so I could search the inside of it. As these tanks are manufactured to not have an opening to prevent you from seeing in, that was also another challenge. So the first several weeks of this endeavor was to discover how I would empty a tank if it was full of gas and how I would ultimately see inside of it.
Okay. How did you do that research?
The first person I contacted was a sergeant from our motor carrier division. They handle the commercial trucking enforcement part of our department, and they have more hazmat training than a normal trooper does. And after consulting with him, I eventually made contact with our emergency management division, who we have a coordinator by district that helps coordinate if there's a chemical spill, and I was able to get some information from him also.
Did you contact anybody else for additional information?
Yes. Once I kind of had a plan for what I would do to empty the tank and look inside of it, I also contacted Greg Hardy.
What was the purpose of that?
Greg Hardy is Dee Warner's older brother. He owns a farm down the road, also has a large farming operation, and he had great firsthand knowledge of how that farm operated, the Warner farm. And he ultimately gave me some advice on where or who to contact to locate Dale Warner's tanks.
All right. And who was the person that you contacted to help you locate some of Dale Warner's tanks?
I can't recall the individual's name, but essentially I came to learn that at some point around that time, he had rented numerous tanks from Dale Warner. So the information provided to me was that this person rented a bunch of tanks and kind of had free reign of a dozen or so of Dale Warner's tanks.
Okay. And based on the information you got from that person, did you do additional search warrants?
Yes. Based on talking with that individual, we did a search warrant again at Paragon Road on the south side across from where we excavated, and also conducted a consent search for a property on Carson Highway, just east of the farm across the street.
And I believe you already testified that you found tank 34 in that Paragon property barn. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you took that to the bridge and had it x-rayed?
Yes.
All right. Where'd you take it after that?
From the Ambassador Bridge, I took it to the Michigan State Police Northville Laboratory.
It's amazing to me they took it to the freaking Ambassador Bridge.
Also, at the time, I was trying to find a place I could store it, which is a different story. But eventually, they agreed to process the exterior of the tank for fingerprints.
Okay. When you say they, are you talking about the lab personnel?
That's correct.
All right. Where'd you take it after that?
From there, it was escorted to the Michigan State Police Monroe Post for secure storage until we could. At this point, it's 7 or 8 p.m., so we weren't unable to get into the feat of opening the tank. So we stored overnight there until we could start the next morning.
That's a lot of driving.
You arrive the next morning. Who do you bring back with
Transporting.
you so that you can open this tank?
Although I had scaled the tank the previous day to confirm the weight and give me an indication if it was empty, and I had x-rayed it, which also showed there was no gas in it, otherwise the x-ray would have been solid, I still wanted to make one more confirmation that the tank didn't have any gas in it.
Interesting.
So we contacted someone that works in that field locally, an independent contractor, who came to the post who aided us in an evaluation.
Okay. And did he observe that tank?
Yes.
What'd he do to determine if it was empty?
He gets out of his truck, walks over and knocks on it, and makes a statement like, "Oh, it's empty," and grabs a wrench and takes off one of the valves on top, and then sticks his face up to it and inhales and says, "It's empty."
Wow.
Who else is present?
So scientific.
At that time, I was with him and several other state police personnel.
I mean, that makes sense. Knock
Did you have
on
the fire
it.
department there?
Not just yet. They arrived a little while later.
And why'd you have them there?
I asked the fire department to come for a couple different reasons. For one, I had to consult with a private contractor who ultimately came and helped us cut open the tank. This is someone that works for a private industry. So when you're operating heavy machinery like that, especially on state land, the state police takes on some liability. So I wanted the fire department there for medical reasons. But additionally, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but we had battled with media coverage in this case throughout my time investigating it. The media's covering it. It's an important case to them. They want to stay informed. And because of that, I was very concerned that if word got out that we were opening this tank, that the media would show up. So the way this post is situated, I was only able to put the tank in a position where I could conceal two sides of it. So if you could imagine the building being in front of me, I can put the tank up against the building and you won't be able to see it from this direction. You won't be able to see it from behind me, but you could see it from over here. So in part, I asked the fire department to bring a fire truck and park it on the side, just in case the media showed up, nobody could take photos or videos.
Okay. Additional reasons that you had the fire department there?
The lab requested that they be present in case there was any toxins inside of the tank.
So after you've determined that the tank is empty, what do you do?
We had contacted a private company to come and help us open it up. So we elected to make some cuts into the end of the tank that was still factory welded, so not the post-factory weld that we had discovered.
Not
I
the
wanted to preserve that for
weld.
evidence. So the first thing I asked them to do is to cut me a small hole so I could see into the tank.
Hey, I don't think that's a high bar,
So,
Kristen, to be smarter
As he's
than
cutting this
Dale.
open, who's all standing right there?
Me, the gentleman that's cutting it, I think he had a partner with him, and there may have been a fireman nearby and another state trooper.
Did you have any protective gear on, any face masks?
No.
Okay. And did the gentleman that was cutting open that square for you to look in, did he have any face mask or protection?
No.
I'll tell you what I will
After
give Dale. Oops, sorry,
What's that
rude
square?
pause. Oh, I did it
Then
again.
what do you do?
I can't pause this guy without. There we go. I am so sorry, Detective Lieutenant Daniel Dreyer. So Dale is not the smartest. He's not the sharpest tool on the farm, shall we say? But I will give Dale this. He is a darn hard worker because to do all of this took a lot. So I'm going to give him an A for effort and an A plus for persistence or perseverance in this but not so smart. He gets about a D plus in the smart category.
He made one initial cut, and I think I asked him.
What do you do?
He made one initial cut, and I think I asked him to make it a little bit larger just after that. But my intent with this opening is I wanted to see inside and take some videos and photos on the off chance that when we're finishing the cigar cut, if you will, to open it completely, I was worried that we would disturb the contents. So I wanted to get some photos or video of the interior before there was a chance for that to happen.
So you stated that he cut the end off, cigar cut. What do you observe when he cuts that end off?
There is something wrapped inside of a blue tarp, and there's also a piece of steel, maybe about this big, that I later learned to be a baffle. A baffle is something that would sit vertical inside of the tank that when you're driving would help keep the liquid from sloshing back and forth, essentially.
Oh.
There's People's 108. Is that the item that you're describing?
Like the
Yes,
Titanic
the baffle is that
baffles.
square piece in the bottom, and the blue tarp is the other item that I described.
All right.
Oh, that's her.
After you make these observations, what do you do?
From there, we started to remove the blue tarp from the tank.
When you say the blue tarp, are you just removing the tarp, or are you removing the whole?
The human
contents?
remains inside of it and the blue tarp at the same time.
All right.
When did y'all realize that really is her body in there?
Who else was there when you were removing the body from the tank?
Myself and several troopers, the company that helped us open the tank, the fire department was still present, and several members from the lab. I don't recall anyone else.
Was there a medical examiner investigator that was present?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I
After
think
you
when
pull
they
the
saw
body
the
out
X-ray
of
at the
tank, what do you
bridge,
do with it?
at the Ambassador
At
Bridge.
that point, the medical examiner is in charge of human remains. So they essentially take legal custody of it. It's the human remains and the blue tarp are placed directly into a body bag. That is then sealed with, it's not a lock, but a seal with a label on it. So we know that it was closed and not open until the actual ME starts their autopsy the next day. And from there, it's escorted to the medical examiner's office in secure storage.
From the time you take the body out of the tank until you place the body bag on it for the ME, did you take any of the tape from the tarp or any other items?
No, we're not allowed to.
Okay. After her body was removed from that tank, did you look inside the tank?
Yes.
What else was in there?
Aside from that baffle, I observed a quarter to a half inch of liquid in the tank. At this point, we had tilted the tank in a negative axis so that liquid wouldn't come out. So it still was inside of the tank at this time.
Did you observe a purse in the tank?
No.
Did you observe a phone in the tank?
No.
Any other personal items?
None whatsoever.
Did you observe shoes?
No.
Socks?
No.
Did you attend the autopsy?
Yes.
Did you watch Dee Warner being taken out of the body bag?
Yes.
Were you present when Dr. Cho opened up the tarp that contained Dee Warner's body?
Yes.
What did you observe inside the tarp?
I observed the remains of an adult female wearing pajama-like clothing wrapped in duct tape. There were a few small pieces of jewelry on her person, and she was barefoot.
No socks?
No socks.
No shoes?
No shoes.
Did you observe any of her other missing personal items, such as her purse or her cell phone or her go bag in there?
No. No other items.
He burnt those, I'll
After
bet.
the autopsy, what did you do? Did you secure any items from the medical examiner?
Yes, from the medical examiner's office, we secured all of the personal effects located on Miss Warner, so her clothing and jewelry, as well as the duct tape that was bound around her, the tarp, and the duct tape that was wrapped around that tarp.
Did you send any of those items to the lab?
No.
Why not?
There's several parts to that answer. So in general, before you can submit something to the lab, you have to wait until it is dried. So for instance, just as an unrelated example, if you were to have someone that was stabbed with a knife and they were to have blood on that shirt, we can't send that to the lab while it is wet. We have to hang that somewhere to dry before we can send it for examination. In this instance, we took all of those items and hung them to dry in a secure storage area. Lab personnel came to that secured area to review those items with us, and based off of the current state of those items, they essentially would not dry. We were unable to process anything that was inside of the tank around her person because of the condition that it was in.
I'm going to have, can you hand him exhibit, People's Exhibit 234?
We're going to zippity doo-dah it.
Okay, and what is that?
This is pieces of tape that were located inside of the tank,
Okay.
duct tape.
Right. And where has that item been
Prints
located
again?
since August of 2024?
We have a secure storage facility near our headquarters in Diamonddale, near Lansing.
Okay. Inside, outside, where was it located?
It's been in a large steel shipping container. Essentially, all these items have been hung to dry, essentially, since then.
And is that duct tape, is that dry today?
It is dry. So in order to present it to court, it has a very strong odor. So I couldn't put it in a paper bag or produce it outside of this plastic bag. In order to prepare it for presentation today, we have attached it to this piece of cardboard just so it would stay upright and sealed it in this plastic. And just from sealing it in the plastic within days ago, you can see some mold and bacteria growth because it's still moist. It's still not dry, unfortunately.
And is that why you cannot send that item to the lab?
Because it refuses to dry. Yes, ma'am.
Shut the front door. What in the world is it?
Out of all the items that you were looking for when you became involved in this investigation, what have you recovered thus far to date, as we sit here today?
Can you ask a question again? I'm sorry.
Yes, out of all the items that you were looking for, including Dee Warner, since you became involved in this investigation, what items have you recovered up until today?
Outside of her person,
Correct.
none of the other items.
After you discovered Dee Warner's body, did you reach out to somebody to ask questions about the welds?
Yes,
And who was that?
I made contact with a welding expert by the name of Justin Schmidt.
How did you get Justin's contact information?
Through my time specifically investigating homicides or other more serious crimes, it's not uncommon for us to reach out or try to find a local expert in a specific field. I can think of a death investigation I had that involved very nuanced medical data, and I reached out to a university, and a doctor there agreed to review records for me. In this instance, it was no different. I essentially looked up the local higher ed and came across Justin's name and just reached out to him.
Did you know him prior to contacting him in August 2024?
No, when I called him, neither of us had ever heard of each other.
After speaking to Justin, did you execute any additional search warrants?
Yes.
All right, and where was that at?
After speaking with Justin, we executed a search warrant back at the Munger farm. And I don't recall the specific date, but I'm near certain it was in August.
August of 24?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. When you go do this search on Munger Farm, what's the procedure?
Specifically for search warrants.
Correct.
So typically for a search warrant, you're going to secure the area that you're searching. Depending on that type of area and what you're doing would dictate the type of resources that you need for that.
Okay. On this particular day, when you did the search on Munger Farm, tell me how you conducted that.
In this instance, at that time, Dale Warner's adult son, Jaron Warner, was residing at the residence on and off, depending on whether or not he had his younger sister, Lena. And based upon that, I would typically call him between 10 and 15 minutes before we arrived at the residence, which is not common practice. The reason why I would do that is I was very confident that nothing that we were looking for could be disposed of in that time before I arrived. And to be frank, Angelina had been through so much. If we could avoid her seeing a bunch of police back at the house again, I wanted to avoid that as much as we could. So in this instance, I did something similar to that.
What items were you looking for when you went back to the Munger Farm?
When we go back to the farm, we wanted to thoroughly investigate the type of welding equipment that was available, as well as chains, hooks, tarps, duct tape, paint.
Okay.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. That's all I can think of now, ma'am. Oh, excuse me. Decals that were on the tank, as well as there was a handwritten note on a tag that was tied to the tank. I wanted to see if we could locate those also.
I'm going to show you people.
Okay. I was doing some stuff while he was talking. And in answer to this question, I don't understand why they can't somehow sterile dry it to test. The issue is that it won't dry. And so I just taking a stab in the dark, a little spitball in here. I Googled, would anhydrous prevent an item from drying? And it does indeed prevent drying. So I think that's probably what the issue was. Is I'm wondering if Dale thought maybe that anhydrous, the little bit that was in there, was going to decompose her body enough that she would never be found. I'm not positive, but I have some questions about that. Hey, Peppermint PJ, thanks for coming on back tonight. And we are 1 hour in. I just want to remind everyone the goal for this evening is 4 more super chats, so 5 total super chats, and I will do a members only live stream on a case that's important to me. So just a reminder, and if you haven't left your DNA on the like button, you should probably, that thing that has the thumbs up, you should probably do that. Just a little reminder.
Exhibit 109. Where is this at?
It's
That is
possible,
in what we
Livy.
call the spray barn, which is also known as building number 7. So you are standing on the south side of the barn, looking south. So there's a big bay door. If you're facing the bay door and looking to your right, that's where those shelving units are located. And if I may, ma'am, we also seized the trash can lid that I just saw in the photo.
Okay, thank you. People's Exhibit 110.
That is one of the cabinets that was previously pictured. And if you look in the door pocket down to the left, there's a dark blue container. Inside of that is a roll of black duct tape.
Can you hand them People's Exhibit 111?
I'm going to say that they matched the duct tape in some way. What do y'all think? We're going to zippity doo dah through
Please, sorry about that.
all of that.
Where did you find that particular roll?
That was the one that was just pictured.
Okay. Right here
Don't
in
do that.
People's 110?
That's correct.
Okay.
We were searching for and seized this because typically our trace elements portion of the lab, if I were to
Match it.
collect duct tape from the scene of a crime and I were to bring them a roll of duct tape, they can do what's called tear matching and see if that piece was the last piece torn off of the roll. Unfortunately, in this instance, as we discussed, the lab was unable to process those items.
Okay. Did you seize additional rolls of duct tape, black duct tape on the farm?
Yes,
Approximately how many rolls?
I can think of 2.
And what color were they?
Those were also black.
I'm going to take you into the new shop. Can you hand him Exhibit 233 and do you still have the scissors?
Yes, ma'am.
It's interesting how good his memory is compared to Detective Greca.
What is that item?
This is an ammonia decal that is similar to the one that we discovered on the tank when we discovered it.
Where did you get that item from?
There was a storage desk, kind of looked like a drafting table with wide, narrow shelves. And inside of those drawers, not shelves, I'm sorry, inside of those drawers were a series of stickers just like this inside of the new shop, which is also known as building number 5.
I'm showing you what's been marked as People's 116. Is that the location that you found those?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kelly.
Have you look at People's
Detective
117?
Lieutenant
What is that?
Truyer is
That is one of the drawers that's open with several of those stickers inside of it.
Can you hand him Exhibit 119, please?
Oh boy, here we go again.
Platter.
Zippity
That is
doo
similar to the one that was
dah.
discovered on the tank, on tank 34.
Thank you.
He's a good one. Hold on my ears.
Item People's Exhibit 120. Do you recognize that?
Yes,
What is that?
that was one of the drawers
Oh.
that just had miscellaneous number stickers
Is there a
that were similar to
34
the
in
numbers
this
that we
thing?
found on the tank.
Similarly, People's Exhibit 121. Is that same thing?
Correct.
2 4s. We could put a 44 on it. Yeah,
Also in the
he's
old
my
shop,
favorite as well.
People's Exhibit 159. What is that item?
That is the welder that was previously described.
Miller-matic.
And what location was that one?
That is what we call the new shop, which is also in building number 5.
I'm going to show you People's 293. Again, what are those?
Those are also additional welders on the property.
Okay, what location?
I believe that's also the new shop, building number 5.
I'm going to show you People's 115. What is that?
That is inside of the old shop. So
Never
Building
seen
number
this
1.
before.
kind of right where the number 1 is on this map is that small narrow corridor that leads to a small office.
And within that office, I'm going to have Craig Lee hand you People's Exhibit 304. Can you describe to me what you found in there
I want to get to the safe.
after you open it, sir?
I want to know about the safe. We haven't. Here we go again.
Inside of matched the type of tag that was on the tank with the handwritten note on it.
Oh,
34.
that's
That's
where it came from. With daily babies
And people's exhibit
handwriting on it.
114. What is that?
We located several blue tarps, and that is in the dry barn, which is building number 2.
Do you recall approximately how many tarps you located on the property?
I think there were at least 2 in that building and a third one that was green in the wet barn.
What are you just calling the wet barn? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, the wet barn is number 7.
Okay.
Spray barn. We call it the spray barn.
Now, during Detective Singleton's testimony, he discussed going to the property room and taking some paint samples. Where did those paint cans come from on the property?
I seized those paint cans from the metal shelving racks in the back of building number 1. Pretty much right where my finger is.
And how many cans did you seize?
I seized 3 cans, and there was also like a food container with a lid of some paint poured in it.
How many times do you think you had been on the Munger property previous to executing the search warrant in August of 24?
How many times in total?
Correct.
Between 6 and 10, maybe, roughly.
Had you been in the old shop previous to August 24?
Yes,
All right. Had you observed paint cans in there previously?
yes.
While you were executing the search warrant, did you look for any safes on the property?
Yes.
Specifically where?
I looked in the building number 7 and building number 5.
I'm going to show you People's Exhibit 89.
Tell me about the
Is
safe.
this
Tell
the
me
safe you
about
were
the
searching
safe.
for?
Tell me
Yes.
about the safe.
And you said also building number 5. Why did you look in building number 5?
So this photo was taken by someone before I was involved in the case in the initial search the week before 25/21. Later, when I get involved in the case, that same safe with that same blanket, I personally observe it in building number 5.
People's Exhibit 88. Is that the
Yes.
photograph?
It was moved.
Do you recall when that was that you observed it in that separate building?
What?
May of 22, I think. I'm not certain.
Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. I gotta
22.
I gotta back
And,
us up.
Later, when I
And you said Exhibit 89. Is
I
this
need
the
to
safe
know
you were
about
searching
this.
for?
yes.
Okay. And you said also building number 5. Why did you look in building number 5?
So this
5.
photo was taken by someone before I was involved in the case in the initial search the week before 25/21. Later, when I get involved in the case, that same safe with that same blanket, I personally observe it in building number 5.
People's Exhibit 88. Is that the
Yes.
photograph? Okay. Do you recall when that was that you observed it in that separate building?
I feel like it
May
was
of 22,
originally
I think. I'm not certain.
Okay.
in building 7. I don't.
Approximately how tall was the safe?
I can't recall in inches, but it's up to my chest.
Okay. Approximately how wide is it?
It's about 5 feet wide,
How deep is it?
28 inches.
Ooh.
You indicated it stood approximately up to your chest. How tall are you?
I'm 6'7".
What are
Shut
you
the
looking,
front door. He's 6'7".
For this safe for? What's the purpose?
The reason why I was looking for that safe and we returned for that search warrant is there were not many, if any, other objects inside of building number 7 the week of 4/25/21 that you could hide a body in, with the exception of this safe. So I was in search of the safe to see for myself how easily you could remove the shelves that were inside of it
Oh.
and how likely or possible it would be to fit a person inside of it also.
Oh, yes.
Did you find a safe that was similar to the one that you observed?
We
Yes.
trust you, Detective
brand was it, if you
Lieutenant
recall?
Drew Year.
It's a Canon safe.
Okay. And what did you do when you found the safe?
Canon Safe manufactures 2 safes that are approximately that size, the one that was on the Munger farm at the time. And between those 2, I found the smaller of the 2. And upon locating it, I experimented with removing the shelves, which I did so in 30 seconds. They come out relatively easily. And I also got into the safe to see how much room there was.
You got inside the safe in the
Yes,
store?
ma'am.
Okay. Who took your photograph?
The store manager didn't want to be involved, so I put on a timer and put on a shelf to take my own photo.
All right. I'm going to show you People's Exhibit 254. What is this?
That's me laying inside of the safe.
The safe that you've just described?
Yes, ma'am.
255.
That's the small
Okay.
one, y'all.
People's 256.
The same.
Just a different position.
Yes, ma'am.
You think that Dee,
257.
her 5'3",
That is the front of that safe.
could have
And
fit
People's
in there?
258.
That is the safe when I initially opened it with the 2 shelves. Those very similar shelves were in the safe that was photographed at the Munger farm. Those are the ones that came out within 30 seconds or so.
Yes, Peppermint PJ. Yes.
Had you previously watched some body camera footage
That's what I believe. I think that's what everybody else
regarding
believes too.
the safes on the property and the FBI, how they got access to those safes on October 11th, 2021?
Yes.
The store manager's like, deuces. I ain't doing this. Nope. Tapping out.
Give me 1 second.
But if a man 6 feet 7 inches tall can fit in the smaller of the safes, you know doggone well that.
I think we might need to use everything. Okay.
All right.
Another thing is that we haven't done this yet, but I know.
Hold it. I have us at 1.25. Let me get us, since this is a video, let me get us back to normal speed. My apologies, everyone. It is Monday.
I think we might need to use everything. Okay. Another thing is that we haven't done this yet, but I know, I think it's 3 safe, the bigger ones. Either I'll escort you to them, you open them, and that's it. Plan B is our tools, our key. You don't want us to use our key now, so. But I mean, yeah.
He
Yeah, at that
had
time, he
to have an absolutely crapping his pants right now. Not because she's in there, but because he's like, oh my gosh, they're on to me. Oh my gosh, they're on to me. Can you imagine this man? No wonder he couldn't sleep at night. That's what he was telling everyone. He couldn't sleep at night since Dee had disappeared. You can sleep at night because you were scared to death they had figured out your diabolical plan, you freak.
indicated to, was that Detective Greca on the body worn camera?
Kevin Greca, yes, ma'am.
Okay, that he would open those safes?
Yes.
Of course. Exactly.
For the record, Your Honor, that was
Felicia.
People's Exhibit 305 that I played for Detective Dreer. Again, with you being inside that safe, can you tell me how tall you are
6'7",
and your weight?
about 230 pounds.
You took it to the. Did you indicated that when you first took the tank, you took it to the Northville lab to be processed for prints? Did you hear anything back from the lab regarding those prints?
To be clear, we had an X-ray that went to the lab to make sure I understand you.
Correct. So after, I apologize. So when you have the lab tech come and take prints off tank 34, correct?
Correct.
All right. And as a result of her analysis, you get a report back, correct?
Yes.
And did you have somebody take Dale Warner's fingerprints?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And who was that?
That was a Trooper Mead, who's an evidence technician for the Monroe Post.
And do you know what he did with those prints after he took them?
Yes, he provided them to me, and I delivered them to the lab for comparison.
Did you observe any additional surveillance footage after finding the body of Dee Warner?
Yes.
How much?
Not as much as my partner, but a good amount.
Okay. We watched
What?
a lot of footage with Detective Singleton
What?
earlier in the week. And do you recall seeing Dale on the JCB after the 6:39 timeframe of the tank appearing in the background?
Is he on the JCB after 6:39?
Do you recall seeing him on the JCB after 6:39 with Ivan?
As far as I recall,
She didn't give a date, did she?
Ivan uses it for trash, if I recall correctly.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you the old shop front three. It's 4/25/21 at 6:39 p.m.
Oh.
And where's this located?
This is in building number 1, the old shop.
Okay. And I paused it because the next time it activated, it's 6:46 on the screen. All right.
Oh, here comes the JCB. What are we doing? What are we doing? Is that you, Dale?
All right. And did you recognize who that was getting off the JCB?
Dale Warner.
And do you know who that was in the old shop?
Ivan Boyd.
We liked Ivan. I remember. Ivan is Dee's son's fiance, if I remember correctly.
Did you look at any additional drone images or
I don't know,
footage from
Kelly.
the 427 search?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, well, let's watch
I'm going to
it.
show you People's Exhibit 168.
Oh. Oh, Dale.
Was there anything during the course of your investigation that stood out to you about this photograph?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it?
This right here.
There are, it's difficult to describe from this photo, but there are tracks through the grass leading around to the back of the burn pit. So if you were to start in the burn pit where the white tank is and go to the right around the other debris and back down towards the right-hand side of the screen, those tracks continue through the grass. And they head toward the direction of building number 7. There are not tracks that lead directly to that by no means, but you can see tracks around the grass heading towards that direction. And they lead essentially up to where the area of the tank is.
And where you would not be seen on cameras. Remember, I said if you go behind the
So
back
essentially,
or the north
would it be on the
side
north side of that
of
tank?
the spray barn
That's correct.
And
So
then
there's
everything else.
something blue south of the tank, just to orientate.
This
I'm
is
sorry.
south.
Yes, so on the top of the top of the tank side, you can see the tracks leading up to
And
it.
these are the
Okay.
tracks. Yeah, it's a lot of tracks. I mean, what are you doing, Dale?
Detective Singleton testified about during the course of the investigation, he had information on life insurance policies.
Oh,
Were you the person that did the search warrant for those?
I'm near certain, yes, ma'am.
All right. And did you find information for April of 2021?
Yes,
How many policies did you find?
there's 2 life insurance policies for Dee Warner.
And who was the beneficiary in April of 2021?
Dale Warner.
Throughout the course of the investigation, did you learn any phone numbers for witnesses, certain witnesses?
Yes,
Did you learn Stephanie Vogel's phone number?
yes,
Did you look through the defendant's call records to determine what time Stephanie Vogel called the defendant?
yes. She called in at 10:31 a.m. on 4/25/21.
Why did you want to know that? I'm sorry.
He indicated very consistently that the first time he knows that Dee Warner is missing is when Stephanie calls him, and that occurs at 10:31 a.m.
Has he ever indicated anything different about how he found out that Dee Warner was missing?
No, he's been very consistent in that fact.
Throughout the course of the investigation, have you had communications with family members or given updates to anybody?
Yes.
Who?
My primary points of contact, because Dee has several adult children and we took over the case, they agreed that we would provide updates to one of them and they would kind of spread the information. So I primarily have contact with her adult son, TJ Bach. I also have on and off contact with Greg Hardy. And my primary point of contact for Mr. Warner was his adult son, Jaron.
Throughout the course of the investigation, did the defendant ever contact you for updates on his missing wife or the case?
The only time Dale Warner ever called me was seeking his iPad and iPhone back.
Had you ever tried to contact him?
shut up.
Yes.
Did you at any point in time tell him you were taking over the investigation?
I called him
Wow.
when it was publicly announced, and I'm near certain I didn't speak to him, but I left a voicemail.
Wow.
You indicated that you also talked to Greg Hardy about certain things during the investigation updates. Is that accurate?
Yes.
How did you come to know Greg Hardy?
I came to know Greg Hardy through the investigation as Dee's older brother.
And did Greg Hardy give you tips throughout the course of the investigation?
Yes.
Like what?
Greg Hardy gave me tips about certain pieces of land that he thought merited investigation, primarily areas that he thought we should excavate and do digs at. He gave me a tip about where Dee's wedding ring currently was. It's never been located since the week of 4/25.
Oh, what? Hold up. No one has been able to locate her wedding ring since he was walking around showing everyone how she left it on his desk in the office, and now it's disappeared. Tell me, did you check every pawn shop in the area? That's new. Oh my. Dale. And doesn't this make sense that Greg Hardy did not want to agree with Detective Greca to give over his phone to have it searched? He said, let me just play along like I did. Now it makes sense. It's not shady. Oh, I so wish Dizzy was here, because she was going off on Saturday when we were talking about this exact specific incident that happened and how shady it was. It's shady because of Greca. And Greg Hardy was talking to Detective Lieutenant Drewer and knowing there's a snake in their house. So who's the snake, or who's the rat that's telling everything to Old Dale? Who's the cheese eater? Wow. Okay. This is making more sense.
He would call me with kind of the local gossip, more gossipy tips that really sometimes don't really have any relevance towards evidence.
Did you follow up on every one of Greg Hardy's, what he thought could potentially happen to his sister?
No. Typically his tips would be a gut feeling or something he heard from someone, or in some cases he would hear a piece of information and perhaps was interpreting it a certain way that wasn't always the most accurate.
Did you ever search Greg Hardy's property with his consent?
Yes. Several times.
But Detective Greca didn't.
And
saying.
Did Greg Hardy tell you where to search for the tank, or what tank to search for, or any information about the tank?
No. He had a basic understanding of what was typical for Dale Warner's tanks, and a contact for someone that had rented them.
Did he give you the contact information for the person who's going to cut open the tank?
He had. So we discovered the tank on a Friday, and I meet with the family to inform them that we're going. I was concerned that somehow there would be a media leak, and I didn't want them to learn that way. So I made contact with them in person, inform them of my intention to have the tank open the following day and make some confirmations. And he offered a metal fabricator that he knew personally to come and open the tank. But no, that is not who did that for us.
All right, thank you. While Kevin Greca was still part of the task force, or it was still essentially his case, did you have communications with him?
With Kevin Greca?
Correct.
Yes.
Did you communicate with him after the case was over?
I think I came across him one time organically through a law enforcement purpose, and then I provided him with a subpoena for the prelim, and that was the extent of our communication.
Did he ever contact you after he retired in August of 2024 to give you any additional information about this case?
I never saw or heard from him prior to coming to court.
After the x-ray of tank 34, so you go, you find this tank, you seize it, and you take it to the bridge to have it x-rayed. Did you communicate with anybody in the Warner family?
Yes.
And who was that and why?
I communicated with Dale Warner's adult son, Jaron. When you execute a search warrant, there's something that's called a return and tab. So for instance, if I were to come and search your residence with a search warrant, at the end of the search warrant, I'd give you a copy of the warrant, and I would also give you a list of all the items that I've seen. Kind of like a receipt. It's called the return and tab, or the tab. Through this investigation, I primarily served the return and tabs to Dale's adult son, Jaron. So in this instance, I x-rayed the tank. I have a pretty good indication of what's inside of it, and I called Jaron to inform him that I had executed a search warrant on Paragon Road. I had found an anhydrous tank with some anomalies, and that my intention was to x-ray it and cut it open if necessary to reveal the contents.
Oh,
and at that time, you had already x-rayed the
Dale
tank,
was.
That's correct.
Why did you tell him that?
Through this investigation, well, investigations in general, information is power. And so when you have control of information, sometimes it benefits you to release it, and sometimes it doesn't, like when we discussed the welding theory early on. In this instance, it was a benefit to me potentially to tell Jaron I had discovered specifically tank 34 and that I was going to x-ray it and cut it open so that I can later listen to communications between him and Dale Warner to see what
It's
that
called
conversation
a
would be like.
bump.
And how would you be able to listen to communications between Jaron and Dale Warner?
At that time, Dale Warner was at the Lenawee County Jail as an inmate.
So explain that. Just he's an inmate at the Lenawee County Jail. How are you going to listen to that conversation?
Jail calls, as we would commonly refer to them as, calls you're making to and from the jail as someone that's incarcerated, those are recorded and monitored. The inmates are explained that, there's notices stating that, and they're informed of that every time.
No
they make
right
or
to
receive a phone call.
privacy.
So every single time a phone call is made or received,
Do we have phone
they'll
calls?
get that notification.
Yes.
Oh, tell me
And
we have phone
did
calls.
you become aware of a phone call in this case?
Yes.
All right. And who were the participants in that call?
We discover the tank on Friday. I make that phone call to Jaron on Friday, and Jaron Warner and Dale Warner have a phone communication the next day on that Saturday.
So August 17th, 24.
Correct.
Oh,
Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to play People's Exhibit 227.
For English, press 1. Thanks. For a collect call.
I know this initial part is pretty loud, but then once it gets into the phone call, the voice is softened. So I don't know if the court, if you want to handle the volume.
Press 0. For a debit, please enter your PIN number now. At the beep, repeat the phrase. With Global Silly, my voice is my password.
With Global Silly, my voice is my password.
Please enter the area code and phone number you are calling now. Please hold. Please wait while your call is being connected. Please hold. Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Dale.
an inmate at the Monterey County Jail. To accept this call, press
what do you think he
0.
says?
To refuse this call, your current balance is $40.71. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Sir?
Hey, Jim.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Well, just gotta eat lunch, so.
Great call, I wanted to talk to you separately without being around. So yesterday, Detective texted and said that they had a search warrant to search the Paragon property and at the farm and surrounding outbuildings again. I'm like, again? He said yes. So long story short, they took anhydrous tank from the Paragon property and they're taking it to get x-rayed. And if they can't get results of the x-ray, they're going to cut it open and see if there's any samples inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And take anhydrous tank number 34 is what their search warrant said.
Tank number 34.
Yeah, I don't know what the specifics of that is or what, but like this is fucking idiocracy. So, yeah. So they took that tank and now they're x-ray or something, then if they don't get x-rays, they're cutting it open. Like, what the hell, what a waste of fucking time. Yeah.
That's not good.
Some heavy breathing there, Dale.
Yeah. So, Grandpa, so you saw something on the news about it. They told me yesterday they were keeping it low key or whatever. It's only 2 seconds they were coming out, but I guess it wasn't low key.
Well, okay.
No, don't use this morning, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Some more bullshit.
So when they do this yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. I don't know, maybe give you the search warrant. They said that they see something, but then what they see is like 11 o'clock night time. Emailed me the search warrant. It's in the anhydrous tank 34.
The breathing.
They're just there. They don't have anything, so they're searching for anything. They got something. Trying to make some bullshit up.
Yeah.
Wow.
So which one, 934, is that the one we painted, is that the one we painted up with the new details or something?
I have no idea which one it is.
Oh. Trying to cover the tracks.
Send stuff to Mary, so she'll I'll talk to you about it whatever later, but. More tax dollars how to work.
It would.
Nothing more tax dollars how to work.
Okay.
Kirby's just got here, just talking to me there, figuring out what you gotta get for school supplies, going out, I guess.
We still have some.
Yeah, I mean, that's picky well stuff, so she had my right folders and all that shit.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't want to use any of her stuff from last year, she wants to give me stuff. She wants to keep all her stuff, all the papers and everything, she wants to keep all of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
everything ordered up in order.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm taking her in on Monday to get the work frozen off the foot. Plans to work.
Also, it doesn't work.
Yeah. She got plans for it. She's trying to do some passing, and she's talking about it, so. She's gonna have gymnastics for the next 2 weeks, so we get them to do it, I guess. We'll be hobbling around now, if you guys hopefully.
Hopefully.
Thank you, Kelly.
You did end up getting books last night?
Yeah, I got them, the other night, that was last night, man, it was last night, I dropped them too late last night.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't know, is there a number on it? I think there's 25 books in the series, and that might be like, no, I think it's 24, 25's not out yet. Yeah, it might be like 17, 18 or something you have. That's it, number on it?
Yeah, I think there's like 4 more.
So it seems like the later ones have got better books.
What's that?
The last couple of them have seen better books.
Yes, yeah, the last one's a lot better.
That's good, it doesn't seem like they run out of materials from the dry books or something, you know?
Yeah.
Good, Kelly.
Better.
Well, it was just, I'm not excited these one here, but figured better tell you, so you see up here or something, what the fuck?
Yeah, great.
Let's just see what's going on here again.
More shit.
Yeah. But, did you pick up the Shawns? I'm supposed to have a meeting on Tuesday with Shawns, me and you. And then on, I think Wednesday, they're gonna do a mediation, so I have to take all day, I'm assuming. Try to settle, the state.
That's what they said, so. I don't know. So, see how that goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Dale sounds a little defeated.
Hopefully start moving in the right direction.
Hopefully they'll get something straightened out with Sean's. Be good.
Yeah, it'd be better not to worry about all this probate shit, just be done with it and focus on the actual trial and get that shit taken care
Right.
of. Like 17 day battle that wants all done enough.
We start from all that, okay.
We're approximately 8 minutes and 40 seconds into that phone call. Is there anything additional that's discussed on there, to the best of your knowledge, about that tank?
No.
Do you want the rest of that audio play?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Oh, you know what that means, y'all. Shardy Pants is going to do cross.
Yeah.
Lord help us.
I don't know. I always think it's worth the sense of it, but whatever.
Right. So the back search in home there too, or?
I know June, they said the search warrant didn't say anything in the house, but the detective told me they had a search warrant for the house, or not the house, but for the surrounding buildings around the house and the field around the house, but not around the house. But Jim said they were here for like 5 minutes. They went out back by the burn pile and mother bottles. He said they were there for like 5 minutes and then they left. So it must have just been an air gun.
Air gun trafficking.
Yeah, you know, a bunch of the dug everything up early. Yeah, FBI was there, but I guess the detectives had to go back over again. I don't know. Resolution and insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expect different results.
Yeah. Hopefully they has a good time with them.
Sure, I think. Yeah, I guess. Like, yeah. Well, you said that, you said your last, when I want to play with her. What'd you have for lunch?
We've had beans and rice.
Beans and rice favorite, huh?
No, my favorite, yeah, beans and rice.
Ready? Come here.
Beans and
Yeah,
rice.
undercooked beans and rice.
I cooked a little tough for me.
Yeah.
All I can think of is there's something about Mary when I hear beans and rice. Rice and beans and rice.
Did you talk to Sean last?
What's that, when they got the John's last?
Yeah. Last weekend, sir.
Last week, that was Wednesday or Thursday.
Spend all day, all week. That's a good deviation for anything that's guardianship shit. I didn't go on the phone for 4 or 5 hours and I didn't do anything.
So it's getting like rains, beans and stuff looking good over times.
I don't know if that happened, but yeah, they're looking pretty good. So it's supposed to rain more today, but I think they get good day tomorrow, we're calling for it. Grandpa stopped by a little bit earlier today, talked to him for a little bit. Yeah. He said that Uncle Billy and Little Billy were down there, I don't know, Fort Wayne, some tractor pull or something, that's what they did. And now they're going to MIS for the race or something, they got the passes, some of them, the C4 people gave or something. So, Grandpa's like, how you gonna get it? You're always away.
Hey, USMC!
Yeah. Okay. Nice day out today.
It's definitely gloomy right now, rained a little bit earlier, but not much, supposed to be more, I think. Yeah. Maybe just making extra crispy here, a question mile away. Which makes it. Yeah. If you look at it, it's time for a year for a while, or something, make sure it's free and still going classes.
Should I tell you?
Looking for a mirror for a locker,
Oh, yeah.
school locker.
Riveting conversation, Shardy Pan.
What's that now?
You watch the movie staying ahead?
So I watched it this morning, but, got get kicked out, that one house coming, so,
Yeah, but
yeah, gave up.
the job does not work off from 6 to 8.
Yeah, they don't work off from 6 to 8 9.
So I figured that'd be a good time to watch it, it's like, the calls are a lot different than that, but,
Yeah, they don't, they haven't shut off then, so.
yes.
For completeness, I'll guarantee you that's her argument. I'm going to zippity doo dah past this. There's only 3 minutes left. They've already stated it's not important. I don't need to hear Darth Vader, Dale Vader, heavy breathing on there anymore. So we're going to zippity doo dah up to, let me get my next time, which is 4:42-ish. And we'll go. Everybody has to prepare because we're going to start the thank you counter. Anybody want to predict how many times she says it? I'm going to say 11. I think she's going to say thank you 11 times to this witness. Y'all let me know in the chat what your count number is. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Shardy Pants.
All right, we are back to record in file 24-21841-FC, People versus Dale Warner. We did, over the lunch hour, review a number of questions from the jurors. And it's my understanding at this point that there is, for the most part, there's an agreement on all the questions that would be asked. There's agreement on all but one question that will not be asked. And I'd just like to take a moment to read into the record the questions that will not be asked. The first is, could you reveal the amount of the life insurance policies? Was there an attempt to cash them in? If so, when?
Oh, good question.
The second is, was there any significance to the amount of duct tape, the placement of the duct tape on the victim's body? Did the ME report that it could have been done to stop bleeding? The third is it sensible to say, with everything involved, it would be very difficult for a person not familiar with the farm to put Dee's body in a tank? The fourth is, was it determined if Dee was killed in the house?
Oh.
The last question that will not be read is, did you ever try to interview Jaron Warner? And was Jaron ever interviewed? And there was disagreement with respect to that issue. Ms. Wise, I don't know if you want to make any record of what your position on that is. If you'd like to, you can go ahead.
Your Honor,
Everybody remember, these questions are the ones that aren't going to be asked. And he's only putting them on the record since they've decided not to ask them. Yes, amazing questions. Great questions.
I just believe that that question potentially opens the door for further questioning that we would like to explore. And I'd hate to mislead the jury by only allowing that portion of the question to be read. Oops, I didn't even notice. So while we would love to explore that issue, the court has placed limitations on our questioning on that. So
Very smart.
we understand the
Gary.
court's position. So
Okay, Ms. Shardy, is there anything that you wanted to make a record of with respect to that issue?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and just for clarity, the court's position is that those questions could have been asked with answers of yes or no only. However, the follow-up would have gotten us into an issue of assertion of the Fifth Amendment privilege, which I would not permit any questions about, because under the applicable case law, that would not be appropriate for presentation to the jury. Is there anything else that we need to address before we bring our jurors?
No, thank you. I think we wanted to excuse officially some witnesses who are not going to be called. So by stipulation, I will read the names if the court is amenable to that right now.
Go right ahead.
Cody Ross, Deputy Gowans, Sam Everly, Dawn Everly, Dustin Reckner, Deputy Bailey, Daniel Ziegler, Mackenzie Smith, Jenica Bush, and Cameron Warner.
That all accurate, Ms. Wise?
Your Honor, Cameron Warner is still on our witness list, and we do not want to excuse her from the subpoena yet at this time. We would, however, stipulate to the release of the other witnesses.
Okay.
Okay, so with the exception of Cameron Warner, the witnesses just named will be excused. Anything else?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Janet, I don't know that he is Mr. Personality. I think that's Dale all the time. I am trying for the life of me to figure out what the heck Dee ever saw in this man.
You are in the meeting now.
Oh, scared at me. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I promise it's not me. Oh boy. Come on. Oh, here comes Gary now. He is a tall man. Look at that. That poor chair is like at his knees.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to resume. Ms. Chartier, you can proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Lieutenant Drew, my name is Mary Chartier. I think you know that because we've been in the courtroom together quite a bit on this case.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have some questions for you this afternoon. What's your current position?
I'm a detective lieutenant with the state police.
The Michigan State Police.
That's correct.
And we already went through this. You began working on this case in March of 2022,
Thereabouts, yes, ma'am.
and you were working again with the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department to assist them.
That's correct.
Then was your primary contact Kevin Greca?
Yes.
Then in August, specifically August 9th, 2022, you took over, meaning the Michigan State Police took over, correct?
Yes.
And you were the officer in charge, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, you referred to Detective Singleton as your partner. Were you peers? Were you leading him, directing him? How did that work?
By rank and job classification, we are peers, but in your words, he did work in my direction.
Okay. Now, when the case was transferred over to you, you received thousands of pages of documents, is that correct?
Yes.
And you organized and reviewed them?
Yes. In tandem with him. That was my hesitation. So, yes.
Did you have these items when you started in March, or did the bulk of them come in August?
Probably somewhere in the middle. So we had a lot of documents when we started assisting, but when we take over late summer, early fall, we then go and collect all the physical copies. So there may have been some things I didn't have yet, but we had the bulk of it by then.
And then you listened to prior interviews that had been conducted
Yes.
and watched those videos?
Yes.
There were quite a few, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you conducted your own interviews, right?
Yes.
Reviewed the surveillance, you and in conjunction with Detective Singleton?
That's correct.
So if there was a piece of evidence in this case, you or Detective Singleton reviewed it and you were aware of it. Is that accurate?
Yes, there were other detectives involved also, but us two primarily.
Now, the missing items that you indicated of Ms. Warner's, I want to make sure what specifically is missing?
Are you saying what disappeared with her?
Yes.
Essentially. Her go bag, her driver's license, her passport. There were some personal hair care products and her phone.
Is the personal hair care, are you talking about like hairspray, curling iron, that sort of stuff?
Correct. I think there may be some makeup also, but I'm not positive on that.
And those items to this day have not been found?
Initially, one item, I think it was maybe the curling iron was reported missing, and that was found within a few days. But with the exception of that, the other items have never been located. That's correct.
Where was the curling iron found?
I think it had fallen on the floor near like the bench near the bed, essentially. Like maybe in between, they found it a few days later, thinking it was gone, but it was actually there.
But the other items have not been recovered?
That's correct.
Now, there were extensive searches that were conducted by law enforcement, correct?
Yes.
Well over 3,000 acres?
Yes.
And those were done to look for Ms. Warner as well as her belongings, right?
Yes.
Now, when you are deciding where to conduct searches, what is going through your head in terms of like where you want the police to look?
That is based off of training and experience of what are the areas that are most probable to possess and or develop evidence, essentially. That is something that would be roundtable between the other detectives on the case.
So when you are looking, for instance, for the phone, the wallet, those sorts of things, is it fair to say that you're looking for areas where people involved in a crime would hide, conceal, or destroy evidence, and they do so in areas that they're comfortable with?
Yes.
And does that language sound familiar?
Yes.
Because you actually wrote that. So
very eloquently. Yeah.
it's fantastically worded. And we talked about the searches were not just land, but again, all different kinds of waterways. You said essentially small inland lakes, ponds, creeks, rivers, that sort of stuff, correct?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about some of the searches, and there are quite a few, and I'm not going to go into them each and every one in detail, but I do want to go through the overview of the searches. So Ms. Warner is reported missing on April 25th, 2021. On April 26th, 2021, Kevin Greca goes out to the Munger property, right?
Yes.
And then he searches the Munger home.
He walks through the home with Mr. Warner.
Now, when you said
Yes.
walk through, is that different in your mind than search?
Yes.
How so?
If I were searching a house, I'm going to open all the drawers. I'm going to look under the bed. I'm going to go in every cabinet. Versus a walkthrough is a more preliminary walk through the house. So the two, and I'm not trying to split hairs, but there is a difference in my mind.
Yeah.
So when he's walking through the house, though, while he is not opening up necessarily every cabinet, he is looking for things of potential evidentiary value, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And he also has a body camera on when he's doing it?
Yes.
So that other people
Sure
can see
hope.
what he's doing.
That's correct.
On that day, he also interviewed Mr. Warner?
Yes.
And he also interviewed some other people that day as well.
Yes.
And to be clear, you would agree with me, Mr. Warner didn't have to speak with Detective Greca, correct?
No, he did not.
But he chose to do so, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So then on April 27th, 2021, I think we've established there were 2 searches of the property. The one earlier in the day was the consent search that was cut short, and then the evening one was via a search warrant. Would you agree?
Yes, on 427. Yes, ma'am.
427. I apologize. Did I miss the date?
No, I'm just making sure I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay. For April 27th, 2021. And on that date, if we combine both those searches, land was searched as well as buildings.
Yes.
And then we know that they had both cadaver and tracking dogs there
Yes,
and drones,
that's correct.
because we've seen some of that footage. Again, Mr. Warner spoke to the police that day, correct?
Yes.
Now, when he changed his mind with Detective Greca, you've listened to that audio and video, correct?
Yes.
And he indicated that he, at that point, thought Ms. Warner was at her son Zach's house and she would be returning and he needed to get back to farming. That's what he said.
A loose paraphrasing, but yes, ma'am.
Sure.
That's the gist of what he said. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's not a direct quote, but
Yeah. You've been here for a while. I'm really busy. I got to get back to work. You guys got to go, basically.
Now, then there was another search on April 28th, 2021 of an additional property owned by Mr. Warner, correct? That's Cedar Point.
Yes.
And that was a consent search?
I'm not as familiar. I'm going to take you for your word on the date. I know that they eventually did a search there.
Do you want to see a report that will indicate the date?
I'm not arguing with you. If you want me to look at it, I will, but I'm just,
No, that's.
I know they definitely searched it that week. I'm just not sure on the date. Yeah.
That's great. And if at any point in time, it's a lot of reports, if you want to see it, feel free. So then on April 29th, 2021, there's another consent search of the Munger Road property, correct?
Yes.
And that had canines and drones.
I'm not positive on the drones, but I know there's a canine there. Yeah.
And also, that's when the surveillance system was checked and phones were retrieved.
Yes,
And Mr. Warner again speaks with the police.
that's correct.
There was another search on May 10th, 2021, and Mr. Warner consented to that.
I'm not certain where that search was.
That was to retrieve electronic devices, as well as Ms. Warner's mouth guard. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And then he also consented for her dental records.
That's correct.
There was another consent to search on May 14th, 2021. And I'm not saying that there was a search that date, but Mr. Warner was asked to consent to a search of his properties and he said yes, correct?
I don't recall that one specifically,
Okay.
ma'am.
What?
Would you pull up GAAZ01, page
How do
30?
you consent to a search, but there isn't an actual search? Can someone please explain to me? Why? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Livy. Like, why wouldn't you cooperate? Your wife's gone.
Right on the right-hand side, about 1/3 of the way down.
I think she might be a little in.
Yes, ma'am. 519.
Oh, no, if you look at the top, it says 514. We'll get to 519 in a minute.
I think she's a little intimidated by him.
Oh, I'm sorry. The way it's laid out is confusing. Now I see what you mean. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
514.
We're only one. Thank you.
So Mr. Warner had called and indicated that his properties could be searched, correct?
Yes.
Now, on May 19th, 2021, he again consented to a search of all of his properties, right?
That's what the report says. Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna object. Do you have any personal knowledge about what properties he's consenting to, or is this?
Hey, YP, thanks for hanging out
My
with
personal
us.
knowledge is limited to what's in this report.
So Detective Lieutenant Drurier has testified extensively today, as well as when he testified on the first part of his testimony about what was done in the investigation as a whole. He indicated he reviewed every police report. I asked him about every video, every audio, and that is going to drive what happens in the investigation.
Okay, that's fine, but he's saying he doesn't have personal knowledge of the answers to the questions that you're asking. And he can't simply read from the report. If you'd like to use the report to try to refresh his memory, I think you're welcome to do that. But that isn't what's happening here. What's happening here is he's just giving you answers from the report.
Okay,
And I don't think that's appropriate from an evidentiary standpoint.
Thank you.
so Detective Lieutenant Drurier, did you review this Lenawee County Sheriff's Department report?
Yes, and ma'am, you can just call me detective. I
Okay.
appreciate the formality, but thank
Okay,
you.
so you reviewed this report, correct?
Yes,
Do you have any reason to believe that anything in this report is inaccurate?
yes.
Okay, so what?
After reviewing the report, we found that what was in the documents was not always a great representation of what occurred on body camera. So we actually went through and watched all the body cameras and did a loose transcription or synopsis of those events.
Shut up. This is what you don't do, Ma'am, you don't ask a witness a question that you don't know how their answer is going to be. And I think she was trying to just be all sly in everything. And she's now just stepped in it. Because well, is there any reason for you to believe that the information in these reports is not accurate? Yes. Sir, I love you. I love everything about you. I love your calm demeanor. I love your hairstyle. I like the stripes with the stripes of your tie and your shirt. I love the fact that you're 6'7". I love this. And I'm wondering, y'all tell me in the chat if you believe this or not, or if you agree with me. I'm wondering if Miss Shardy Pants may have watched some live streaming over the weekend, and maybe she's realized the thank you is really not playing like she thought it would. I'm just saying.
So would that be, for instance, a police officer might write something happened and then you're saying that was not backed up by the body camera?
More often it was that what happened on body camera wasn't completely or accurately surmised in the report.
That's a big deal.
So somebody had their body camera on and then whatever occurred, and then the synopsis did not match what was on the body camera.
If I can give you an example.
Sure.
So I went to this place on this date and I saw Jim Smith. When you watch the video and it's an hour long and they walked around and they went to get lunch and they talked about XYZ, that was more typical of what we saw.
So the report didn't put in all the details from the body camera?
That's correct.
And so it was really important for you to have the body camera so you could actually review it and get all that information.
That's right.
And so do you have issues with the searches that were conducted? So do you think some of them were written in the report that there were searches, but that's inaccurate?
From my understanding, if the report indicated that a search was conducted, that search was conducted. That's not to say I don't have issue with some of the searches, but the actual documentation of when where they occurred is, from what I can recall, mostly accurate.
Did you rely on that information as you sort of set, because this is, you're joining in May of 2022, and then in August of 2022, you're taking the lead on it, you and Detective Singleton. So are you relying on documentation of searches and knowledge of searches to sort of chart that path of what you're going to do?
Yes. Another component of that was for some of those searches, there were state police personnel, and I knew some of those people personally, so I could more, in a way, accurately rely on what they said they had done.
Because they would have reports as well.
Or just a recollection of being here and searching that, et cetera.
So when I'm asking you about these searches, so I'll ask about this May 19th one. So May 19th, Michigan State Police is involved in this search in 2021. Are you aware of that?
I know they did some in that time of the month, but I can't recall which search it was. Do you know where it was, ma'am?
Sure. So there were 8 properties involved, including a property for a man named Tom Nordley.
Is this, if I may, is this when they dug the manure pit? Okay, I am loosely familiar with that search. Yes, ma'am.
This is what was considered the large-scale search, which went on for a few days.
Okay.
So are you familiar with that search?
Yes.
Okay, so if I ask you questions about that, would you feel comfortable answering those?
I can do my best.
Okay, terrific. And then is it your understanding that Mr. Warner consented to a search of his properties?
Yes.
Now, you were not involved in this large-scale search?
No.
But you're aware that it occurred because at least some Michigan State Police members were, correct?
Yes.
Now, are you aware that the Paragon property was searched during this large-scale search?
The north side, the area that we dug the following.
Not where the tank was.
Yes, that side was searched. And I'm pretty sure they had a cadaver dog there also.
Would you take a look at page 179?
In this binder, I presume?
Yes.
Everybody has.
You're referring to the bait stamp number?
Yes, at the bottom.
Everybody
So
has
if we
said
look-
they only went on the north.
It says Paragon property number 7. You're indicating that only the north part was searched.
That's my recollection. Yes, ma'am.
Now, if you flip that page over,
Aww.
it also indicates that the south side of the Paragon property was searched, correct? And that's about 6-7 lines down.
I don't know that I would trust it if it had anything to do with Greca. I think we know why Greca was like.
It refers to some people walking the field. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. And it talks about search the fence rows, grassy area, barn, and equipment, correct?
Yes.
The south side is ultimately where tank 34 was found, right?
Yes, ma'am.
in August of 2024 doesn't mean that's where
Now,
it was.
there was a
when they
search
searched.
on October 11th, 2021 that the Michigan State Police were involved in. Do you remember that? Or is that something that you're familiar with?
October 21,
October 11th.
October 11th. Was that the search with the FBI, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
And that was a multi-day search, correct?
Yes.
And sort of the same sort of, and this is where Agent Impala, I believe, indicated that he had searched 37 vehicles. It was a multi-day search. That's the search I'm talking about. And that was a large-scale search involving multiple police agencies. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And as you talked about, there was digging, ground penetrating radar, all of those things, correct?
Yes. And to be clear, I was not a part of that search.
Sure.
Okay.
But you did review both the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department reports. I mean, I'm assuming.
No, I just want you to understand my hesitation.
Sure.
I'm just trying to recollect on something I reviewed, that's all.
And I know I'm asking you about a lot of dates. So there were FBI reports, Lenawee County Sheriff's Department reports, and Michigan State Police reports. Does that ring a bell?
Those reports probably would have been limited to our canine troopers. I'm not certain we had any investigators there. I don't recall.
They were limited to the canines.
Okay.
Are you aware that Mr. Warner consented to that search of those properties?
I'm not familiar with consent or not on that one. I'm not certain. I believe the FBI requires a search warrant to activate their field team, but I'm not certain.
Would it surprise you that he did consent?
No.
And then that search, as we talked about, continued on for a few days, correct?
That's my understanding, yes, ma'am.
And then with that, there were fields that were searched as well, right? So we're talking about properties in terms of houses and buildings, but the search also involved fields.
I don't recall what all the search. I know the house was for sure searching the vehicles, but I don't recall anything else specifically.
Through the course of the searches, do you recall that there were cornfields and soybean fields searched?
I'm going to object. He's already indicated that he wasn't present for those searches, and so he doesn't recall them. He's just reviewed a document. Again, it's all hearsay.
I said through the course of the investigation, not just with that
Just
search.
so for clarity's sake, you're talking about all of the searches from the entire investigation.
Correct.
I think
Correct.
that's fair.
I thought you were referring to that day, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No. So
Yeah,
said
I
what
did
we've been
too.
talking about. I asked about waterways, and then I've been talking about buildings and the home. But through the course of the investigation, you'd agree with me that there was actually like land searched, fields. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Now, May 4th, 2022, there was a search of the Munger Road property, and you would have been involved at that point. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that included the outbuildings and the office building, right?
In the home. Yes, ma'am.
In the home. Thank you. And then on May 10th, 2022, there was another search of the Warner property, and Michigan State Police was involved with that.
Can you give me that date again, ma'am?
May 10th, 2022. This,
I don't recall what that search was. I'm sorry.
I might be able to refresh your memory. Was there damage to the Hummer during a search?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so tell
I
us.
did not damage the Hummer.
You
You're
did
correct.
not, but tell us who did. He's already done testifying.
Yes. One of our computer crimes analysts got into the very large commercial sprayer and attempted to get some data from it and bumped the handle. And if you could imagine a monster truck moving slowly towards a vehicle waiting to crush it, that's essentially what happened. So the tire grabbed the Hummer a little bit and crashed the back end. And to his credit, Mr. Warner wasn't angry at all, surprisingly so.
And so
No,
that,
he
so it's
saved
that
all that
search. So I
rage
thought
for
that
me.
I was definitely there for that. Yes.
I thought that might refresh your memory. Mr. Warner had given consent to search, correct?
I'm not certain if we had consent. I feel as though if I was there, we wrote a search warrant.
You may have had a search warrant, but do you also get consent? You heard Detective Greca say that sometimes he'll get consent along with a search warrant.
In my professional opinion, when someone has revoked consent to search their property, I will get a search warrant moving forward, so there's no confusion. So at some point, he revoked consent to his properties. In my mind, I'm going to write a search warrant for his land moving forward. So I can't speak to what Greca did at that time.
We love
Now,
detective.
we talked about damage to the Hummer on that date. Were there other instances where there was any damage to the property?
Yes.
This was his way of throwing the most amount of shade possible in such a polite way, because he says, well, once someone revokes consent, then I just make sure to get a search warrant every single time, so there's no confusion. I can't say what Detective Greca may have done. Sir, I could give you a sloppy wet kiss right now. This is fantastic. Better than I could have ever imagined. Because she's not doing all the thank yous because she's met her match in someone. He's thorough, polite, has a great memory. He's not evasive. This jury, I will guarantee you, we're all a jury here. We love him. We absolutely love him. Greca? I felt like I needed to bathe after that. So, yeah, this jury's going to love him. She's met her match.
And what was that?
I can think of one in particular. I requested some digging be done by building number 7. Would you like me to point it out, ma'am?
Sure, if you'd like to.
On the side of building 7, we had a small excavator dig here. And between this building 7 and this, I'm not sure what to call this small structure, there was an electrical wire that we damaged during that dig. Just based on the machine digging through the ground.
Also an area that is
aside
not
from that-
on any cameras.
I cannot recall any damage as a result of a search warrant.
So just a Hummer and then the electrical wire. Or do you count as damage the holes taken from the couch? So there were sort of cutouts in the couch in the living room that were circular. Would you count that as damage or?
Yeah, those items were damaged. Yes, excuse me. And that was during the FBI search in October 21, if I'm not mistaken.
How's this guy remember?
But nothing
all
else comes to mind other than those 3 incidents.
You had talked about a phone that Mr. Warner had gotten in. Essentially, he put
Yes,
Ms.
baby.
Warner's phone number on that phone. He got a new phone and populated that phone. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware that he had asked permission from Detective Greca to do that?
Yes.
Hey, just want to remind you, we're 2 hours in. I only just have the one super chat to get us to the 5 for me to do a live stream of a case that's important to me. And if you haven't left your DNA on the thumbs up, you need to do that. And why the heck haven't you subscribed if you haven't subscribed already? And you can become a member too. And, then there's more stuff. So just your little reminder.
Then we talked about the searches that occurred in May. Were you present for the search of Ms. Warner's mother's, a home of Ms. Warner's mother, not where she lives permanently, but
Miss Warner's mother's?
Mr. Warner, excuse me,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Warner's mother?
The vacant house that Clara owned?
Yes.
Yes, I am familiar with that.
Okay, so there was that search, and she was cooperative when the police showed up to search it, correct?
She was angry to find that we found a dangerous snake in the crawl space. Otherwise, she was perfectly fine with us being there.
What did you do with the snake?
I
I
love
don't
this
mess
man.
with snakes, so I didn't.
Just let it go on its way.
That's somebody else's problem, unfortunately.
Wow.
And then
Oh, are you
we already
talking
talked about there was the
Clara's
search
house?
of the lake. That was essentially a lake that in June. Is that accurate? June 2nd, 2022, and Michigan State Police would have been involved at that point as well as you.
That was a consent search from somebody otherwise uninvolved?
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
This man.
Then October 28th, 2022, Mr. Warner again consented to a search of his property, right?
October 28th, 22.
Specifically a field.
October 28th of 22. He gave me consent for something in 22?
He consented to a field for his property to be searched. Would looking at a report refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Here's the thing.
County wouldn't have been getting,
Is it? That looks like an 8 to me.
well, in 22, it would have been mine by then, so Lenawee County wouldn't have been getting consent for anything.
Okay.
Oh,
But no, otherwise, I'm not familiar with this.
Okay.
I'm not. Get it away from
But if
me.
Lenawee County has consent to search forms in their report, you're not disputing that those are valid, though, correct?
I would have no basis one way or the other, ma'am.
Then there were also searches in early May 2023, and this was a multi-day search of lots of properties. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
And this went on with a lot of people, correct? A lot of
boy.
officers searching.
Yes, I think we had at least 120 personnel involved for 2, maybe 3 days.
And you divided it into areas.
That's correct?
I'm not going to go through every piece of property searched, but for instance, in Area 1, you searched properties, by you, I mean law enforcement, in Brooklyn and Onstead, and that totaled a little over 407 acres, right?
Correct.
And then there's no Area 2, and that's just for administrative reasons, it sounds like. Area 3, properties in Onstead, totaling 79.82 acres.
The totals are sounding accurate, but I couldn't tell you from memory how much land was in each area. I'm really sorry.
Would you like to either look at sworn testimony that you gave before or a police report?
I can tell you off the top of my head, it was roughly 3,000 acres that week that we divided into areas, but how much was in each area, I couldn't tell you from memory.
Well, let me ask you this. So I'll just ask you about the cities where these occurred. So there were 8 properties in Tipton. Does that sound right, in Area 4?
Yes,
10 properties in Tecumseh in Area 5,
yes,
Area 6 was Leroy Seiler's property in Tecumseh.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was the property that Mr. Warner went to spray on April 25th, correct?
That's correct.
Area 7, there were 8 properties in Onstead.
Yes.
Area 8, there were 13 properties in Tipton.
Yes.
Area 9, there were 5 properties in Onstead.
Yes.
Area 10, there were 3 properties in Tecumseh.
Yes.
Area 12, there were 7 properties in Adrian Township.
Yes.
Area 13, there were 4 properties in Madison Township.
Yes.
Area 14, there were 7 properties, 3 in Tecumseh Township, 2 in Raisin Township, and 2 in Ridgeway Township.
Yes.
Area 15, 1 property in Onstead.
Yes.
There was also, I think you talked about a search in January of 2024, correct? Did you talk about that when you on direct?
January 24 or January 23, ma'am?
Excuse me, January of 2024. Was there a search in January 2023?
I'm sorry, give me a moment. So,
This man has
I'm
somewhat
having a
of
hard
a
time differentiating the Januaries. I'm sorry.
So do you want me to
Photographic
see if this
memory.
refreshes your memory?
Please.
It's when the John Deere utility box was swapped.
Yes, that's what I would call the reenactment with the front end loader, that search.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So that's January, I believe, of 2024. Would you agree?
I'm sorry, I thought it was 23 at first, but I
Okay.
believe you. Yes, ma'am.
And then there was also later on in that month an excavation, correct?
Was that the excavation we discussed earlier?
Yes. Now, we already talked about vehicles were searched. That includes the JCB and the Kubota, right?
Those were searched by the sheriff's department. I'm not certain that we did anything with either of those vehicles. We utilized the front end loader of the JCB for the reenactment.
Y'all
I'm not
tell
certain
me
that
if you
we
think this
searched it
was
formally.
landing in
And when you talk
any
about the
sort
later
of
search where you found the duct
way.
tape and paint cans, those sorts of things, you said you found those, you grabbed the paint cans off the shelf?
Yes,
Now, do you know when the paint cans were purchased?
I do not know, ma'am.
And what about the duct tape? Do you know when that was purchased?
I do not know, ma'am.
Anything, the tarp, anything like that?
No,
Did it surprise you to find Rust-Oleum white in a barn on a working farm?
No.
Did it surprise you to find duct tape there?
No.
Did it surprise you to find a blue tarp?
no, ma'am.
Or I should say there were multiple blue tarps, correct?
At least 2. Yes, ma'am.
and a green
And
one.
same with the drawers and with the stickers in them. You don't know when those were ordered, correct?
I do not.
You're finding them in 2024, and Ms. Warner had gone missing in 2021, right?
Yes.
And were those doors locked?
No.
Were the buildings locked when you were there? Did you need a key to get into every building?
On that specific search, I don't recall. In general, most of the outbuildings were unlocked. I'm certain there's a time at some point we needed a key for something, but most of the time things were open for us.
You know, just a couple of things that you had spoken about. You said you did a geofence and then the fog. And the geofence is essentially, you said, sort of putting a perimeter down on a location and then seeing what devices pop up, correct?
Yes.
Do you remember what, with geofence, what devices popped up?
I know there was more than one, and I think we attributed both of them to Dustin Lally.
And we know that Raquel Bach was on the property too, correct?
Yes.
But her device didn't come up.
No.
Now, do you recall where areas of the house swabbed for human blood?
I wasn't a part of those searches. I know that's you referenced the holes in the couch. That was primarily why that was done, to my understanding, but I wasn't present for
I know,
the rest
not
of
a
that laboratory
lolly.
type of search. I couldn't tell you.
You don't dispute that it was done. You just weren't directly involved. Is that correct?
I know that they definitely, the chemical is called luminol. That's what you use to look for human blood in searching. I know that was deployed, but I'm not certain of where.
Or Blue Star.
I want to clear up a little bit about a phone download. So I want to make sure I understand. So Detective Hooper did a download of Mr. Warner's devices in April to May 2021. Is that accurate?
Yes, his phone and iPad. Yes, ma'am.
And then Ms. Vanden Heuvel did a later download and she testified on Friday. And that's the portable case that you're referring to, right?
I may have referred to both in my testimony.
Okay.
And she, her download kind of takes some explaining, if I may.
Sure.
So initially, Detective Hooper from the Mineral County Sheriff's Department, he testified to what he did with Mr. Warner's devices. A big part of what you can do with electronic devices depends on the licensing that your department or whoever you work for purchases. They're really expensive. So in our instance, we're fortunate that we have what I will call the A license. We have the newest technology, the Michigan State Police. At the time, Detective Hooper, no fault of his own, he had kind of the B license. So when we examined those pieces of information, the analyst, Danielle Vanden Heuvel, she took the original information that the Monroe County Sheriff's Office had and put it into our A license, if you will. But then subsequently, she also made her or someone from her office made the recommendation. We want to gather these devices again so we can put them all through that A license, if that makes sense.
So her work was from Detective Hooper's to May, because that's what we heard. So essentially, if he did the download and looked at it in, let's say, early May of 2021, she's looking from May of 21 to May of 2022.
No, that's not necessarily true, because the subsequent download that we conducted could also have data going back to April of 21.
Okay, so do you know if it did have, I'm talking about from, do you know if it had anything additional before April 25th, 2021?
Any data on the phone?
Yes.
Before that?
And if you don't know, it's okay to say that.
I'm not certain, but I feel pretty comfortable saying that device would have had something from before April, some piece of information on it from before April.
Now, the indication where you said you asked for a phone and then Mr. Warner didn't really want to give the phone. He called a lawyer and then ultimately gave you the phone, correct?
I think I argued with you. Yes, ma'am.
You did. You did.
And I got the phone.
You did get the phone. The gun safe that, or the safe you were talking about, is that a gun safe? That moving to the sprayer barn, where you said you saw a safe in building 7 and building 5.
The safe that
Just a safe.
I was inside of,
Yes.
those images? Yes, that's sold as a gun safe.
Oh, this man is making my Monday right now. The safe that I got in. Detective, I love you. I love you. He is very, very, very likable. Because he's not trying to be evasive. He's answering the questions. I mean, that was precious right there. Yet, Livy, you must have, because there were several pictures of him inside the safe. So yeah, you'll have to go back. This is. Oh, did she miss? Livy, my bad. Did she miss the picture of him inside the safe? Yeah, exactly. I thought you were asking, did I miss the picture of him inside the safe? Yeah. Yeah. The way he so smoothly gets that little, in a very likable way. Oh, are you referring to the safe that I was photographed inside, or that I went into? Is that the one we're talking about? The one that my 6'7" love it.
And was that ever tested? Did anyone ever swab that for blood, DNA, bodily fluids, hair, anything?
The closest to a search that was conducted on that safe is when the FBI was there in October of 21. It was still in building 7. Mr. Warner provided a combination. They opened it and took a photo of the inside, but no other examination of the safe was done at that time.
At any time, correct?
No, but by the time I realized that it may be involved in some way, I was unable to locate it again.
Oh.
And that would have been how many years later?
I wasn't looking for it in January of 22. I'm not sure the first time I searched for that independently. For that reason, if that makes sense.
We saw some videos of Mr. Warner speaking to the police. You would agree with me, he spoke to the police numerous times when Detective Greco was the lead on the case, correct?
Yes.
And even when there was the task force, he continued to speak to the police multiple times.
Yes.
And at that time, he had another lawyer, we saw him in the video, named Lawrence Lieb. A lot of times, Mr. Lieb wasn't even present, correct?
Correct.
But Mr. Lieb was fine with Mr. Warner chatting.
I'm assuming yes. I didn't have that communication with them at that time. That was Kevin Greca. But he never made statements to anything otherwise.
And he actually brought Mr. Warner involuntarily to speak to you in December of 2022, right?
Yes.
I need to clear something up with this safe because I think he misspoke earlier. It was originally in building 5 and then when he ended up seeing it moved into building 7. Is that what the testimony was earlier? I'm confused on what building the safe was in. And then it went missing. I got that part now, which is new information. Thank you very much, Shardy Pants, because you are the reason that I am even looking at this the way that it is now, which is not in favor of your client. Am I right with that? It was originally seen in building 5, and then he saw it in building 7, and then it disappeared. Livy, I think it was moved, and then it went missing. That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna. I hate to do this, but I think I have to back this up some.
Times when Detective Greco was the lead on the case, correct?
Yes.
And even when there was the task force, he continued to speak to the police multiple times.
Yes.
And at that time, he had another lawyer, we saw him in the video, named Lawrence Lieb. A lot of times, Mr. Lieb wasn't even present, correct?
Correct.
But Mr. Lieb was fine with Mr. Warner chatting.
I'm assuming yes. I didn't have that communication with them at that time. That was Kevin Greca, but he never made statements to anything otherwise.
And he actually brought Mr. Warner involuntarily to speak to you in December of 2022, right?
Yes.
Now, while you talked about Jamaica, Mr. Warner was always adamant that he didn't harm his wife, right?
Yes.
Now, kind of going to that Jamaica interview, it was actually you who brought it up about 45 minutes into the interview, correct? And you said something like, initially you made a statement about Jamaica. Why do you think she'd be in Jamaica, right?
That sounds correct. I would have been asking him about a previous statement he made.
And then he explained why, right? He didn't just say, hey, I think she's living in Jamaica with the drug cartels, right?
When he went into the mystery man that she might have met on a cruise ship.
So, nope, this was when he talked about the fact, tell me if you need to refresh your memory.
I'm sorry, can I correct myself?
Yes.
When he talked about how she was enamored looking up at the hills when they were on vacation.
Yes, he said she really liked Jamaica, correct?
Yes.
And Mexico.
Yes.
When they were in Jamaica, she had befriended,
this
he
is
didn't use the term
precious.
concierge, but he said the person at the resort who was able to kind of get you what you want, correct?
Yes.
And she saw mansions up in the hills, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she thought that looked really beautiful and she'd wanted to go up there, correct?
Yes.
And she was told, don't do that. Those are drug cartels, correct?
Yes.
But Mr. Warner said she was still like pretty fascinated by it, correct?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
Why are you even talking about this? She was found in a tank on his property with him, with all the tools and everything and moving it all around. Why are you talking about Jamaica like there's a possibility that some drug cartel took her to Jamaica? What are we doing? What are we doing? Help me understand. And I'm going to get to the bottom of the whole safe thing. I'm going to do it tomorrow, though. So when we come back on Wednesday, I will have an answer about the safe because I'm going to go back and try to decipher.
Now, in addition to the, let me jump back. You described, when it comes to Mr. Warner's statements, you described them as being fairly consistent, correct?
No, there was two things he was fairly consistent on. The rest were not consistent.
Okay.
I just can't stop myself. Oh, this man.
I'm going to show you a police report.
No,
It says
thank you.
investigated by Daniel Druyer. Daniel Druyer, it's an MSP report, page 21.
Oh, boy. Oh, I love this.
And I'd ask you to look at the first sentence of the bottom paragraph.
You're looking at sub 4, ma'am?
I am looking at sub 4, yes.
And can you tell me where to look again? I'm sorry.
Sure. Last paragraph, first sentence, correct?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I see what you mean.
So let me ask you, this is your report that you wrote, correct?
Yes.
Because it's got your name and it says investigated by, and sometimes there are two different names in those boxes, but yours is in both, correct?
Yes.
And you wrote Dale's initial statement to LCSO, that's the Lenawee County Sheriff's Office,
Yes.
which was fairly consistent over numerous contacts, was that Dee had a migraine in the late evening of 4/24/21, and then you go on to detail the statement, correct? You wrote that, right?
Yes. The context here is what I'm typing is fairly consistent over these, is what my intention was. So what I detail afterward was fairly consistent in his statements.
Sure. So what was consistent?
I would be reading it from here.
Okay, well, I'll ask you. Do you remember what was consistent?
The parts that were consistent was that they had some form of a disagreement. How he describes it does change over time, whether it was an argument or what it was. That she eventually got a migraine, and that she took some medication and got hungry and had a little something to eat. She falls asleep. There's some discrepancy about where they fall asleep and if she gets to the couch or if he goes to bed. That does change over time. They fall asleep. Essentially, where they sleep is, again, changes. He wakes up in the morning and leaves at 6 a.m. is the bulk of his primary statement. The timing of the morning is what starts to change over time.
Also, the other item that you indicated was consistent was that he had rubbed her shoulders, correct?
Yes, he consistently states that, yes.
And nowhere in here, if I flip it over,
From the front like this. Blah, that's how he rubbed her shoulders.
do you write any inconsistencies, correct?
No, the intention of that paragraph was to highlight the portion that had been consistent up to that point.
So again, you don't write any inconsistencies.
Not in the specific paragraph, no.
Then you,
I'm going to object on rule of completeness and ask you to be allowed to testify about all the inconsistencies that are contained within the report. Detailed.
I'm asking about supplement 4 that Detective Dreyer wrote. There's going to be cross-exam or redirect, I should say, but that is the essence of his paragraph.
So
I
think the
love
rule
how he
completeness
places.
requires Ms. Charday to do that now. It gives you the ability to thoroughly admit that evidence during the presentation. So
I love how he takes that notebook and is like,
Okay, I do
I'm
believe the rule
done.
the rule of completeness does require it to be brought in when the evidence is brought up, as was not to cause a delay in admitting the evidence.
she made that
I'll
stupid
allow
phone
it to
call
continue,
get
and I'll bring it
played.
up on cross-examination redirect.
Well, how nice that you're going to allow me to continue. So this last paragraph only talks about
Wait a minute. Y'all. Did y'all hear that? We need to back that up. Wow. That was, she should have objected again. Oh, when I say she, I'm talking about the prosecuting attorney. Yes, this is all in front of the jury. Oh, that is not going to go over well. Not with this guy. This guy is as pleasant and as delightful and accommodating as any witness has been. This is not the hill you want to die on, honey. Yeah, she's coming unglued. You are absolutely right. And USMC, we are going to watch it again just so we can see the lovely and delightful detective. He's no longer Detective Dreyer for me. He is Detective Delightful.
Okay, I do believe the rule of completeness does require it to be brought in when the evidence is brought up, as was not to cause a delay in admitting the evidence. I'll allow her to continue, and I'll bring it up on cross-examination redirect.
well, how nice that you're going to allow me to continue. So this last paragraph only talks about consistency.
Okay. I saw it that time. Did you see the eyes? Did you see the eyes? This detective knows what's going on in this courtroom. She is screwing up. She's the frog in the pan, and the water is slowly being taken to a boil, and she's not even recognizing the fact that she is in deep doo-doo. Oh, I am loving this. Let's talk about it, Nikki. Thank you so much for joining us. You look new to me. So yes, she does think she runs the courtroom. She doesn't. Oh, I have to see the side eye again. I am so sorry, but y'all, I'm enjoying this. We have to do it.
That's it.
I'll allow her to continue, and I'll bring it up on cross-examination redirect.
Well, how nice that you're going to allow me to continue. So this last paragraph only talks about consistencies. That's it. So
the argument seems to be over. So
Okay.
You can continue the question.
there were hundreds of interviews conducted. You'd agree with
I'm
me
losing it tonight.
Overall,
overall.
yes, ma'am.
And you talked about the importance of using a body camera to record interviews, because then you were able to find discrepancies between what conversations had occurred and then what was summarized in a police report, right?
In some instances, yes, ma'am.
You'd agree with me, you didn't always activate a body camera, correct?
No, I did not.
And sometimes you would turn it off when the portion of the interview that you wanted recorded was done, and then you would continue speaking to someone, correct?
Typically, at the end of the interview, people would like to ask not direct questions about an investigation, but more what's normal and what's going to happen next, those types of things. Sometimes those can become more personal, intimate, like how a person's feeling. It's not always the most appropriate to record. So in those instances, it's common practice for me to turn it off.
What about at the beginning? Sometimes you don't turn it on right away, correct?
I'm pretty consistent about turning it off. I can think of one instance with a reenactment where I gave some direction before recording it, but for the most part, unless it's by forgetfulness, we try to have it on right away.
And there's no, do you record phone calls?
Not typically, no. Unless I have a reason to believe there's going to be some evidence within that phone call.
What about text messages, emails, those sorts of things? Do you have all of them, or have some of them not been preserved, I should say?
Typically, unless a text message or voicemail or email pertains to a particular piece of evidence or any piece of evidence, then those typically are not saved, no.
Do you think it's interesting that, for instance, you looked at some Lenawee, I'm assuming it was the Lenawee County Sheriff's Office reports, and then when you matched it with the video, you were like, oh boy, the report doesn't give enough detail, but yet you don't record every aspect of your interview. So no one can go back and look and say, okay, so when you shut off that body camera, the 10 or 15 minutes you're talking to someone, we don't know what happened in that, right?
I can see why you bring that up, but my explanation stays the same. When I'm discussing some intimate feelings that someone's having about a particular instance that aren't necessarily pertinent to the case, especially when those videos are going to be FOIA'd by media and press potentially, I like to protect those people's intimate feelings if I can.
But you don't
Well,
know
that
someone's going to be
didn't
talking about an intimate feeling, right? So someone doesn't necessarily say, I'm going to talk about my intimate feeling now, and then you turn it off. You turn it off and then answer whatever questions they may ask. Is that fair?
Well, typically when I turn off my camera, I'll ask someone, okay, that's the conclusion of the interview. I'm going to turn this off now. And if they disagree, there's something they still need to discuss, then I'll keep it on. But otherwise, that's when it ends. At some point, it has to come to an end. We can't leave the camera on and recording forever.
No, it can't. But when you're still communicating with a potential witness, can you at least see why it would be helpful to have a complete video of the entire communication?
Not as opposed to what I've explained. No, ma'am.
No, what he's doing is trying to be a human being and
Moving
allow
to the
people
sprayer,
some
you
privacy.
talked about the fact that you had essentially reenacted Mr.
Called
Warner's
compassion.
movement with the sprayer, and you matched it up with GPS information that you received from John Deere. Is that correct?
A combination of that GPS information and Dale Warner's statements of that morning. Yes, ma'am.
And then did you also, or law enforcement also, look at the weather that day?
We had, and due to a few different reasons, we weren't able to completely recreate that, unfortunately.
But not a very windy day, would you agree?
There's mixed reviews on that. I wouldn't feel comfortable because I wouldn't feel comfortable commenting because I don't know with clarity.
Now,
You're not a
when
meteorologist.
you look at, it sounds like you looked at all of the portable case download. Is that the correct terminology that you're using?
Yes, ma'am.
The phone dump that we kind of call it
Yes.
locally. Okay, so you looked at all of that. You also looked at Mr. Warner's fitness data from April 24th to April 25th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that indicated that, I should say, that kept recording from roughly 7 p.m. I'm looking to 11 o'clock in the morning, right? That's an area that you had zoomed in on?
That is an area I zoomed in on. I'm not certain I would say that it kept recording.
Well, it shows that he had a heart rate from 7 p.m. to 11 a.m., correct?
I don't feel comfortable answering that with a yes or no.
Okay, so would you show?
I can just explain. I don't think you need to show it.
Okay,
So
so let me ask you if that's okay before you get to your explanation. It showed that Mr. Warner had a heart rate, correct?
yes,
So it showed the total number of readings, and to be clear, it breaks it down by hour, right? So 7 to 8 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m., 9 to 10 p.m.
there's more detail than that.
Sure, no, but when we're looking at the information you put in a police report, that's how it's broken down, correct?
I don't recall what information is in the report, but I know there's more detailed information in the portable case than that.
Okay, so let me show you what's in your report, if that's okay. It's on page 6. Shows April 24th, for instance, 7 to 8 p.m., April 24th, 8 to 9 p.m., correct?
I think I've discovered the disparity and we're
Okay.
disagreeing slightly. So this specific report is when we were still aiding the sheriff's department,
Mhm.
and we were operating off of that kind of B license of the phone data. So the information I'm referring to that's more in depth was from that A license later on.
Okay,
So I think both things are true, if I may, ma'am.
okay, great. So let's just talk about this information right now, if that's
Okay.
okay. So this shows a heart rate for Mr. Warner from 7 p.m. to 11 a.m., correct? So it's been recording that entire time, at least according to what was included in the report on March 30th, 2022, right?
Yes. This supplement shows that there's data from 4:20, 4:21 starting at 7 p.m. and it collects data at minimum until 4:25 at 11 a.m. But there's data between those 2 hours.
So, and it shows essentially the total number of readings for a time period. So if we're looking at 12 to 1 a.m., it shows 23 readings, correct?
Yes.
A max heart rate of 67.
Yes.
Distance traveled says did not record. That means someone didn't move during that time. Accurate?
Or that it, for another reason, wasn't recorded, but more than likely they didn't move. Yeah.
And then
I
flight.
would object to speculation unless he knows about how the Apple heart monitor and heart rate and stuff work and can describe it.
Well, he just said it could be for another reason, but more than likely it's because no one moved.
All right, well, he answered, but I don't know that there's a foundation for the answer. It just wasn't his wisest challenge.
Okay. So let me ask you this. You looked at this information and then you looked at later information, correct?
Yes.
Did you understand or learn about what you were reviewing?
Simply the data that was put out. I don't understand most of the science behind it from the
Okay.
device.
Right. Well, who does, right? I'm saying, did you understand the data that you were looking at? So for instance, when it says distance travel,
Just said
did
no.
you understand what that meant?
I understand that it's giving a distance, but again, I'm not certain how it comes to that conclusion.
Okay. No, I'm not asking you to figure out the algorithm. I'm just saying, so for instance, when it says max heart rate, do you know what that
Yeah,
means?
you kind of
Yes.
are.
What does that mean?
That would be detecting a maximum heart rate detected at that time.
And what about distance traveled? What does that mean?
Hey,
That would be
Christine.
how far the device had traveled.
And what about flights climbed?
I would be assuming, but I'm
Okay.
assuming it's how many.
Why
flights of
is
stairs
she
you climb at a given
asking
time.
him
I
this?
mean, that
He
seems pretty
can't
reasonable,
answer it.
correct? That it would be a flight of stairs?
Ma'am, did you watch the Karen Reed trial? Because we've got Google searches at 2:27 a.m. that apparently didn't really happen. So I don't know that it's so intuitive like you're thinking and wanting to portray to this jury, because it ain't. If you listen to old Ian Whiffen, no, it's not that cut and dry.
Correct.
So if we look at this and we look at from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., it recorded no movement in terms of distance traveled by Mr. Warner, correct?
Correct.
And then if we look at flights climbed from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., it did not record any flights climbed, right?
Correct.
And then if we look,
And in Massachusetts, it records flights that you've climbed or descended when you're in a car and it's on a slope. So, I mean, how reliable is this data that you're pounding away at? And couldn't he have just as easily just collapsed? I bet he was tired after bludgeoning her and choking her to death, strangling her. I bet he was probably a little pooped. He was like, "Phew, let me get her in that safe, and I gotta get some rest, man. I got a spray tomorrow."
look between 4 and 5 a.m. for distance traveled, it says 1.18. Do you know what measurement that is? Is that in feet?
That's my assumption.
I want to just move on to a few other things. We had on Friday an exhibit 195. There was a text message exchange between Ms. Warner and Mr. Warner. She refers to a man named Craig. Do you know who that is?
Craig is their marriage counselor.
Thank you. And also there has been some discussion about Ms. Warner's love of jewelry. Would you agree she spent over $45,000 on her K Jeweler credit card from 2019 to April 2021?
Yes.
And did you
You
look at
go,
any other
girl.
records from K Jeweler?
Not anything that would change that. I also looked at receipts and things that supported that figure.
She is a
That's what I was
woman
going to
after
ask.
my
That didn't
heart.
seem out of the norm, correct?
I just looked at that 2 years, so I'm not
Okay.
sure how to describe what normal is, but I know that's an accurate figure.
Thank you. Now, we heard a jail call. People are notified that the call is being monitored, correct?
Yes.
And they can end the call at any time they want, right?
Yes.
The JCB reenactment that we saw photographs of, who was driving the JCB?
The one and only Detective Sergeant Mike Baker.
Okay. And then was he being directed? So was someone helping him kind of line up that JCB with the stairs as we go to the door?
Only to the point where he didn't want to hit the house.
How long did it take him to get that up there?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Do you remember 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, or just have no idea?
When you say get that up there, do you mean from the time he started it in the barn?
Yeah.
5 minutes, maybe. I'm kind of flying blind. I can't remember that far back.
Sure. And that's all right. And do you know how fast he was going?
I couldn't tell you. No, ma'am.
Did he seem like he was going pretty fast? Or?
I'm not even certain I was there when he was moving it until he got close to the house. I can't tell you.
Now, even though you did that reenactment, there's no physical evidence on the JCB that Ms. Warner was ever in that front loader, correct?
No,
So-
it was processed, and there was no physical evidence located by the other agency.
She was in a tarp. Do
Now,
y'all think
we
that
saw
she-
some video from
Do y'all think that she was not in a tarp, that he literally just had her body flopped in there from the living room area? Or I actually think the argument took place in the bedroom is what I think. And I bedroom or master bath or between the two of them. She was in her jammies. She didn't have any shoes or socks on. I'm going to go with it was in the master bedroom, master bath. So I think he got a tarp and put her in that tarp before he ever took her body out of that house and put it in the JCB. She was already duct taped up by the time that happened. I would love to know what the distance and heart rate and everything was earlier in the evening prior to this midnight-ish that she keeps talking about, because I personally, in my mind, he's so insistent on the fact that she fell asleep on the couch that that's probably not where it happened. He's so adamant about it. She's on the couch. I saw her on the couch. She was snoring on the couch. I think it happened in the bedroom. I also wonder if that curling iron falling might have had something to do with some sort of altercation that maybe she grabbed or something. Just saying.
from April 25th, 2021, and you'd agree with me, there are roughly 17 cameras on the, not roughly, there are 17 cameras on the Munger property?
I don't independently remember the number, but I don't dispute that there's a number of cameras.
Okay, we heard testimony at trial. You're not disputing
I'm
if
not,
someone said
yeah, I'm not
17.
playing coy with you. I just don't remember.
Okay, no, that's fine. And the cameras are motion activated, right?
Yes.
And so in the morning, Mr. Warner is on camera at a number of different times. And if you need to refresh your memory by looking at that report, please feel free. Does this sound correct to you? At 6:58 a.m.?
Yes.
7:13 a.m.?
Yes.
7:23 a.m.?
Yes.
7:30 a.m.?
Yes.
7:33 a.m.?
My memory starting to get a little bit scarce, but I'm still with you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if you need to look to refresh it, just let me know.
What page is that on, ma'am?
It's page 141 and 142.
That's the bait stamp number?
Yes.
Report, ma'am. I didn't write this.
Okay.
I see the page, but this is Scott Singleton's report, ma'am. I didn't write this.
Okay, well, did you look at the footage?
Yes, but I don't know it as intimately as he described here.
So do these numbers sound right to you or no?
They sound right because I know Scott Singleton, and this would be accurate, but I don't.
So you're saying you don't have an independent knowledge of that?
That's correct.
If Mr. Singleton is, or Detective Singleton, I should say, is saying that he saw Mr. Warner on camera at 7:34 a.m., 7:40, 7:41 a.m., you're not disputing that?
No, ma'am. I would expect these to be exact and thorough, but I don't have independent knowledge of that.
And then are you aware that Mr. Warner leaves the property at 7:47 a.m.?
That's when he goes to Leroy Sealers, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Yes, ma'am.
And then returns back at about 8:11 a.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Then he's on camera a little bit more at 8:18, 8:19, and then leaves the property again at 8:46 a.m. Does that sound right?
Yes,
And then comes back at about 11:18 a.m. in the sprayer.
that's correct.
Then he leaves the property at 1:48 p.m. and returns back at 2:18. Does that sound about right?
I know he leaves and comes back. I'm not certain on the times.
And the surveillance video is in evidence, so if you don't know, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so and if you don't remember that.
I know he leaves about that time. I know he comes back in the early afternoon, but those times escape me. I'm sorry.
Now, Ms.
Pretty good
Saylor,
memory.
would you please pull up SNP A for me?
What else was in
Oh
there?
my gosh, y'all.
Aside from that baffle, I
am so
observed
sorry. I totally
a quarter
just
to a half inch of
bumped
liquid
the
in the tank.
stinking thing.
When we're looking at the information you put in a police report, that's how it's broken down, correct? Sure. No. So the total number of readings, and to be clear, it breaks it down by hour, right? So 7 to 8 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m., 9 to 10 p.m.
It was more.
Okay. And then was he being directed? So was someone helping him kind of line up that JCB with the stairs as we go to the door? More at 8:18, 8:19, and then leaves the property again at 8:46 a.m. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And then comes back at about 11:18 a.m. in the sprayer.
That's
Sorry,
correct.
y'all.
Then he leaves the property at 1:48 p.m. and returns back at 2
Back. I'm not.
And if you don't,
There we go.
this is from the fuel tanks on the property at 3:41 p.m. Nope, that's the wrong one.
That's the nasty looking one that he was moving.
While Ms. Saylor gets that, and Ms. Vinsky, would you help her with that? Thank you.
I think
I'm going to
he
ask a
changed
few other
his
questions
mind.
for you. Okay, is that it? Terrific. Great. So do you know roughly who else was on the property at 3:41 to roughly about 4:12?
Man, this would be a question for Detective Sergeant Singleton. This is the cameras and the timeline. That's his deal.
Okay. Well, so let me ask you this. Did you watch this video? Did you see somebody plowing the field in the back?
I don't independently recall. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay, nope, that's fine. Did you ever ask Mr. Warner if he was plowing the field in the back?
I don't recall.
Would there have been anyone else on the farm who would be plowing that field to your knowledge at that time frame?
I'm not certain who else would have been there plowing the field. I have no independent recollection of that, ma'am.
Did anyone tell you, any employee who was there, I also plowed the field in the back?
I don't recall someone stating that, ma'am.
And so you haven't looked at the surveillance video to see the plowing of the field and then what it looked like after the work was done. Is that correct?
I've looked at the cameras. I'm not familiar with the plowing of that field. No, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Saylor. Now, I was a little confused when you talked about the welding theory. We heard Detective Singleton say it came up pretty soon, about in April of 2022. Is that your recollection of when it came up?
I know it was sometime that spring or summer, but I don't know exactly when.
And then I was also, so who came up with the idea? You or Detective Singleton?
He was definitely the one that discovered that video, and we discussed it together. I'm not sure if he came to me and said, hey, I have this welding theory, or hey, check this out, and we discussed it together. Some variation of that.
It looked
And who made
weird.
the decision not to tell Detective Greco?
It wasn't an overt decision to not tell him. We just kept persisting. We didn't mention it one way or the other.
So you and Detective Singleton thought that Ms. Warner, you might know where she is, right? She might be welded in a tank somewhere.
I think to frame it that way is overestimating the confidence that we had in that theory at the time.
Did you, let me ask you this, did you or Detective Singleton follow up on tips from psychics?
In a semi-joking way, Detective Sergeant Singleton was in charge of psychics.
And then you'd follow up essentially on kind of almost any lead if it might have even an essence of credibility. Is that
Love
accurate?
the way he phrases
Yes,
things.
and I think that was being kind of funny, but the reason why we would, in a way, take psychic tips seriously is, I can't remember the specific case, but historically, a psychic called in a tip, and it was really someone that was a witness and didn't want to say they were a witness. And that eventually led to evidence of a crime. So
Oh.
if someone that was framing themselves as a psychic called in a tip, I would always hear them out because they might know something and just not want to be honest about how they know.
Right.
More often than not, though, they don't know anything, correct?
Smooth.
That's accurate, yes, ma'am.
So what percentage of the time would you say those psychic tips are accurate?
If it's truly a psychic,
Yes.
0.
Okay. So knowing that you have this like very low percentage that a psychic tip is going to be correct, you still pursue it, right? In general.
That's not even, I wouldn't say pursue it. For instance, we searched a small private lake. A psychic had called in about this lake, and when I reviewed the property, it was connected to a piece of property of someone that Dale Warner was had a familial relationship with. So based upon that, it can't hurt. Let's go check it out. That's how I would pursue it typically. Does that make sense?
Sure. So what would be the problem? I was confused
Oh,
with
we
saying
know,
to
Eve.
Detective Greca, boy, we've got this theory. Let's maybe brainstorm around it, talk about it, look into it.
The assignment of assisting the sheriff's department wasn't I don't want to be disrespectful, man. I'm trying to choose my words carefully as my hesitation. It wasn't the most comfortable assignment.
Tell us everything.
There were people there that weren't always receptive to someone else showing up to look at their work. So my assignment at that time was to review what had been done and make recommendations about what had been done, not to present new theories or ideas that I'm not certain would have been received well.
Even if it hadn't been received well, don't you think it would have been prudent to at least offer it up, right? Because at this point in time, there is a missing woman and there is a family hoping to find that missing woman. So whether it's comfortable or polite or courteous, isn't
Yes,
it
it is.
your job and Detective Singleton's job to say, listen, we've got this theory. And if somebody doesn't want to pursue it, that's on them.
Yes and no. Part of the apprehension of that time is, in my opinion, the writing was on the wall and it was a matter of time before this case was ours full time. I felt pretty confident in that early on.
Oh.
And then once it became yours full time, August 2022, why did it take 2 years for this welding theory to kind of take fruition?
It didn't.
Okay, so, but you said you were only looking for things underground.
It's a mistake I'm not proud of. I was convinced it was buried, and that's where I was looking.
And
I'm not proud of that, man.
no one thought, well, boy, there are other tanks, not just on the Munger property, but at Carson, at Paragon, on other farms, right? We're talking about Munger, Paragon, and Carson. The reality is those tanks are all over the place, correct?
Which is why eventually I started looking for him. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. But, okay, so
Don't
you
you
also
throw
indicated
shade
that
at our
you were
nice
concerned
man.
about a leak. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was that a leak at the FBI or was that a leak at the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department?
That was a U.S. Marshal.
Okay, so a U.S. Marshal.
Yes.
Did that leak concern you before that family meeting in March with Greg Hardy, Billy Little, that group, or did you have concerns about that before?
It definitely wouldn't be before that meeting. I guess to characterize this, when we had the family meeting to introduce the fact that the state police was going to be helping the sheriff's department, I knew so little about this case. It was kind of embarrassing to be at the meeting, to be forthright with you. I'm not even sure if I had a copy of the report yet. So to have an opinion on anything, I knew nothing.
So you didn't have a concern about a leak before that family meeting. It sounds like. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, I had no reason to suspect that there was a leak going into it because I didn't know anything at all.
And then when did that kind of your concern bubble up at that meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was misunderstanding your question. Yes, because it's presented to me there, essentially.
Yes.
I misunderstood you.
So
yes.
we heard Detective Greca talk about what happened. Tell us in your words what happened.
His recollection is accurate.
Tell us.
We wanted to get consent for as many phones as we could of people that could be involved or have any information on those devices. That was in a way an objective of that meeting. And Greg Hardy did pull us out of the room, and his private investigator, Billy Little, that's when they had that dialogue about pretending to consent but not. There were other people at that meeting that also did not consent to have their phones dumped. And much like Mr. Hardy at the time, simply because someone does not consent to something does not give me probable cause to take a search warrant and take it from their person.
That's
So,
right. Just like getting an
we
attorney
hadn't met
doesn't
a
mean you're
burden
guilty.
for that phone or other phones in the room that we could seize with a search warrant.
Did anyone else ask you to pretend that they were turning it over for a download but not really download it?
No, ma'am.
So that was only Greg Hardy and Billy Little. And what was the rationale for that? You said it was a United States Marshal. What was the rationale for not like being concerned that someone would look at the phone?
Well, to be clear, what was presented to me at the time in that dialogue was that Mr. Hardy, I'm paraphrasing, but he says someone, and I can't remember how he characterizes it, but I remember at the time being clear of the fact that someone in some way involved in law enforcement is giving his information, and he doesn't want to part with his phone and reveal that source. There was no explanation of who it was or what information.
Did you know at the time it was a United States Marshal, or did that come up later?
No, that was something revealed much later. When this dialogue is kind of happening in front of me, all of this is brand new information to me. I don't know Greg Hardy. I don't know anything about this case really.
This
so all of
is
this is brand
very
new in that
clear
moment.
now.
So Detective Greca, it sounds like, declined. That's what he said. He was not going to play along with
That's
that. Is
correct.
that accurate?
That's correct.
And did you agree with that decision?
I do agree with it, but it was I would have done the same thing he did, but it wasn't my decision either. He's the one having this dialogue.
Right. And that's what I was asking, was if you were in that position, would you have done the same thing that he did, which said, essentially, I'm not playing along that way?
I'm not going to play your game, exactly.
When did the United States Marshal, when were you able to kind of drill down on that and find out what was going on with that?
That is not something that I did personally. It was just information that was given to me at a later time.
By who? Do you remember?
I'm amazed that
I
this
can't
is
remember if it
all
was
just allowed.
Kevin Greca or someone else at the sheriff's department. I can't recall. And that would have been some months later. I don't recall when it occurred either.
Now, I was a little confused about, so you had this welding theory, which was based on viewing the surveillance. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And then,
And if I may,
yeah, sure.
the Google search warrant in his iPad.
Okay, in the Google search warrant. So you had that come up in essentially 2022, sometime in 2022. And then what leads you to now say, okay, we're not looking underground, we're now going to look above ground?
Over the course of the next couple of years, I felt we had exhausted every place to look above ground. I was extremely confident that she was not alive. And I was confident that some harm had come to her and someone had taken her life and that her body was hidden somewhere. And I could not think of another place that was reasonable to look above ground. I felt like I have completely, if someone brought me a tip, I'm absolutely going to go look. But I felt like I had looked every place I possibly could above ground, and which brought me to thinking that we had never just looked for the tanks.
Did Mr. Hardy tell you, like point you to a tank and say, go look for a tank or this? Because it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like this was police work by you and Detective Singleton.
During the preparation that I discussed earlier about how I'm going to empty the tank and how I'm going to look in it, et cetera, during that planning, and then I get to the point where I need some knowledge about where Dale Warner's tanks are stored and how they're used. I had several dialogues with Greg Hardy at that time because he knew the farm intimately, his sister's farm, and he knew about their common practices and where they stored things. So over the course of probably a week, I've talked to him several times on the phone, and I've asked him about welding, and I've asked him about tanks, and we're discussing that. And in one of those phone calls, he says, I'm paraphrasing, I wonder if she's inside of a tank. So he makes that statement to me, but it was after I had been asking him these questions. So I had been almost too forward with the information, but I needed him to ask. I need to ask him these questions to get this information at the same time.
So you are aware that Mr. Hardy has made statements to the media, a lot of them, correct?
Unfortunately, yes, ma'am.
And do you believe all the statements he's made to the media are accurate?
No.
Specifically as it relates to the tank, have you told him that?
Yes.
And what about it is inaccurate that he is saying?
His characterization of events. He's done. I can think of one interview in particular that's not based upon fact.
And what is that?
Regarding the tank?
What is that?
Which?
Or
what is the statement, or what is the incident?
Statement?
If I can just describe the interview to you, it might
Sure.
be easier. Greg Hardy, in some way, consents or asks media to join him, and he takes a camera crew to Paragon Road, points in this barn, and states, "Look in this barn where the tank was hidden under cover of darkness," or something to that effect, which he would have no way of knowing that information.
And did he actually go on the property with the camera crew?
If my memory serves me correct, yes, ma'am.
And we visited that property last Wednesday. So the barn, if we're on the south side, it's got no locks on the door, correct?
There is a chain wrapped around one of the handles. I'm not sure if there's a padlock on it or not. It wasn't locked the day we were there.
And so the day you were there, you just walked on, right? That there was no indicator of a lock.
Last week or?
No, when you went to go find the tank.
In August?
Yes.
I think it was similar to how it was last week. There may have been a chain wrapped around one handle, but it wasn't locked. I didn't have to force entry other than opening the door, maybe.
Now, with your communications with Mr. Hardy about the tank, and I think we've gone over this, you were on the telephone with him, so we would not have a recording of those communications. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
You had talked about sort of leading up to that point where you went and found the tank. You spoke to someone who had borrowed or been using some of the tanks on Paragon, correct?
Yes.
And the last name of Smith, does that ring a bell?
Was it Henry Smith?
Yes.
I couldn't remember earlier. Yes, thank you for reminding me.
And he was interviewed?
Yes, I spoke to him on the phone, and I think one detective went to see him in person.
And was the issue there essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, he was able to go in, take maybe 10 or so tanks, pick out the tanks he wanted and use them, and you wanted to know essentially, do you have those tanks? Is that accurate?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Smith on the phone, and he explained that at some point in the past, he had to store a bunch of anhydrous ammonia in a hurry and didn't know where to put it. So we contacted Mr. Warner, and Mr. Warner offered to give him or let him borrow, rent, however it was characterized. You can go take these tanks from Paragon Road. So my questions to Mr. Smith were, what tanks did you take? When was that? And do you still have any, essentially? And when speaking to him, I remembered that I had been to Paragon and saw tanks over there previously.
You talked about the fact that the duct tape from inside the tank still was not dry yet, so you weren't able to do any DNA analysis, correct?
It's still
Yes,
not
nothing
dry.
inside of the tank was suitable for any DNA or print analysis based on the condition.
And that includes the tarp. Does that include like the metal inside as well?
Correct.
When the tank was opened, was there a smell?
Yes.
And was the smell ammonia? Or a chemical smell, I should say?
In a way, yes. There was other odors also.
Sure, and unfortunately, because the body was inside the tank. But we heard Dr. Cho say there was a strong smell of ammonia. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes.
I don't think that's a
And
dispute.
to be clear, I think the reason why I misunderstood your question is Dr. Cho is referring to what's at the office as opposed to being at the tank. That's why I didn't
Right.
understand you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, and the fingerprint girl said that she could smell it too, that it was very strong.
You indicated that you had searched Mr. Hardy's property.
The
When was
ammonia.
that?
I searched, well, I don't want to use the word I too carelessly, that we searched Mr. Hardy's property. He has some land this direction going west that has a little pond that we did a consent search on. He gave me consent for, we had a tip about a rental house of his, that someone had seen something of interest in the basement. We conducted a consent search there. And
Can I stop you? Do you
Sure.
recall the dates of these searches?
I don't. I could probably tell you what year that happened. That's about the best I can
That'd
do.
be great.
So the consent search in the basement of the rental house, I think that was in Palmyra. The spring of the prelim, would that be 24, ma'am?
That would be 24. Yes.
And I want to say that field and pond was around the same time, but I'm not certain. And I think there's one more area he might have consented to, but I can't recall off the top of my head.
So the two searches of his property were a field and a rental property in 2024. Is that accurate from what you can best remember?
The sheriff's department had searched his barn, which is also down to the west, maybe a mile down the road. They had searched his barn.
Is that because there was blood found there and it turned out to be animal blood?
I'm not certain what led them to search there, but I know that they were there.
Okay. Any other searches?
Not that I can recall regarding Greg Hardy. No, ma'am.
Correct. And then we talked about him making statements that were incorrect to the media. Is it fair to say that the private investigator he had hired, Billy Little, he also made statements to the media which were incorrect?
I'm not certain he ever made statements that were correct.
Okay. Does that make your job significantly harder?
Unfortunately, yes, ma'am.
I have no additional questions. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Right, why don't we take maybe a 10-minute break? I think we're at a logical breaking point, so we'll do that. We'll come back and resume with.
Okay, so we will have. I'm shocked. My thank you meter is only at 3. Yeah, so we've got about 45 minutes of testimony left, and while we have this little break, it's time to do a little housekeeping, everybody. And Kelly, thank you so much. I would just like to congratulate Ms. D on getting your very first real troll. You have officially arrived. You are a true streamer now. What I will say to all of my chatters and anybody new to my channel, I welcome differing opinions. We're just a big old jury here at the Chickadee Coop. And so I have no issues with that. When you come in my chat and you're disrespectful and you use foul language and foul symbols, you will get booted because I don't roll like that. That's not what this is for. That's not what it's about. And I just want to thank everyone that plays nice in the sandbox and make sure anyone that wants to come play in the sandbox in the future understands the ground rules at the coop. Because I don't appreciate language on my channel, period. And yes, we like to cackle and have some fun. And the truth of the matter is the reason we are doing, I shouldn't say we. I work in management. I say we in a lot of ways. I watch trials and I replay them and provide commentary on them because I want to make sure we are keeping our system honest. And so for people like Dee Warner that they can eventually get the justice they so deserve. And the way you do that is to make sure that the investigation is done honestly, that the people testifying are doing it honestly, and that the judicial system is doing it honestly. Because I've watched way too many shenanigans in trials that have made me question a lot of things. And that is the reason I do what I do. That is the reason I want Kelsey Fitzsimmons to get justice, and Dee Warner to get justice, and Edric Fust to get justice, and Zach Adams. Do not even get me going on all of the people I have witnessed while watching trials get screwed over by the system. So for somebody to come into my chat and try to make it seem like I've got some grift going on, honey, I got a full-time job. I shouldn't even say job. I have a full-time career. I do this as a hobby because I enjoy it, and I enjoy hanging out with all of you. So don't start with me about being disrespectful when I'm trying to make sure the people that deserve justice get it, and that innocent people don't get convicted. And if they do get convicted, then we're going to make sure everybody I possibly can make contact with knows that they've been screwed. All right, I think I'll get off of my soapbox now. I apologize, but it got me pretty torqued that someone would think that's why I have this channel, is that I'm trying to be disrespectful or do crazy things. No, that's, I can tell you're new because you don't know anything about misdemeanor. Denise Carter, thank you so much for becoming a member. I do so appreciate it. And unfortunately, you became a member right in the middle of my rant. I'm so sorry, but people can be jerks sometimes. And when they're jerks, we have to fix it. We had one the other night too, right at the tail end of the night. But welcome. Oh my goodness. And on top of that, she is also sending a super sticker. Thank you, my dear. And Melissa, thank you so much. You're smart and pretty, class act. Well, thank you. I just have to tell you that I just don't have a tolerance for that. And so that'll get booted really, really doggone quick. Again, disagreement. You're not on the same page with me as far as testimony or something like that. I'm fine with it, but don't come in here and curse and all kinds of other craziness. So, oh, Livy's become a member too. Gosh, I guess I needed to get ticked off more. No. Thank you so much for becoming a member, Livy. All righty. Rant is officially over. I promise you. And oh gosh, I've hit the wrong buttons. Let me get to I have to consult my notes because I got time stamps. So because WTOL, I can't see what's going on so easily with it. So we're gonna get back to this. I think it's going to be redirect. I feel like I need to redirect. All right. Oh, well, thank you for loving my ranting. I think Mr. Demeanor would probably disagree with you. Although every once in a while, my staff at work, they get a kick out of a good rant that I can give too. So,
Are we ready to bring the jury back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
you haven't been around trial watching long enough, go back and watch the lovely and delightful Judge Newman from the Alec Murdoch trial. He says, bring the jury. Another man that I adore.
We've talked a lot about searches, whether it's consent or search warrants. Can you describe to me what exactly is a search warrant?
A search warrant is a document that an investigator, a detective, police officer would manually typed. That document would detail that they are investigating a crime, what crime that is. It would detail that they want to search a certain place and what place that is. And it would have to detail what they're searching specifically for. And it would have to detail the probable cause necessary to search those areas. So for instance, if I had an eyewitness that said one of you were involved in a hit and run crash and they wrote down your license plate, I go to your house and I see your car parked there, I could reasonably articulate that your car was involved in this crash, and I have to search it for evidence of that crash and what those pieces of evidence would be. Depending on the county that you're writing that search warrant in, or that jurisdiction, some counties like a prosecutor to review it, some do not. Either way, a judge or magistrate has to sign it to give you that authority.
Now, Ms. Chartier asked you about the defendant consenting to searches of multiple properties over the course of many years, correct?
You're referring to Dale Warner?
Correct.
Yes.
And he consented to searches of all of his properties, except for on what date?
Except for on 4/27/21.
Okay, and what happened during the course of that search?
When the drone team and the K-9 team showed up,
Well, objection, because I don't think that Detective Dreer was present on April 27th, so it wouldn't be from personal knowledge.
This goes to his investigation and why he focused it the way he did, the next steps he did.
Okay, so again, the issue is personal knowledge. So what it goes to doesn't address the personal knowledge issue. So the challenge is that he doesn't have a foundation of personal knowledge to testify.
I
So
love Judge Morasic.
based on the one search that the defendant revoked consent, did you do anything additional? Such as watching the body cams or surveillance or?
yes. Based on the fact that he revoked consent during that search, once the tank was discovered, we revisited those videos, body cam videos and drone videos to try and reconcile where that tank may have come from and where it was.
Going back to all of these searches and the condition that Dee Warner's body was found in, would you have expected to find her body even on April 26th, 2021, with all of the items that you had to help aid in your searches?
Objection, speculation.
I'll lay a foundation. How many homicides have you investigated?
He
Dozens.
Okay. Have you
already
used canine?
did.
Yes.
Which type of canine dogs?
Both article dogs and cadaver dogs.
What do you know about the extent of what those dogs can search for?
Those are tools I use regularly, and I have a strong base of knowledge for what they're capable of.
Ground penetrating radar, have you used that before?
Yes.
And what's your knowledge on ground penetrating radar?
I understand to a point the science behind it and the best way to deploy that tool also.
You talked about FLIR.
Yes.
What do you know about FLIR?
Similar to ground penetrating radar, I understand to a point the science behind it and the best way to deploy that tool when necessary.
Drones?
The same, ma'am.
Excavating?
The same.
Based on your training and experience and the condition Ms. Warner's body was found in, would you have expected to find her even on April 26, 2021?
Objection, still speculation.
I believe he's laid a sufficient foundation for, he knows the facts of this case as well as his prior training and experience.
I think he knows the facts of this case pretty
I'll
daggum
overrule the
good.
objection. I think it's speculative.
Could you re-ask the question, ma'am?
Yes. Based on your training and experience and the condition that you found Ms. Warner's body in, would you have expected to find her even on April 26, 2021?
No.
You discussed on cross-examination that the defendant purchased a separate device, a phone, to place Dee Warner's iCloud on. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And that was April 29th, 21?
I know it was shortly after her disappearance, but I'm not sure the exact date, ma'am.
Okay. And do you have personal knowledge of what happens when you place an iCloud on a device that was previously used on another device?
Yes.
What happens?
Depending on the settings that you have in your iPhone, depending on how you set up your iPhone, is going to dictate what information is uploaded to the cloud and when, and how often those things happen, and if it's encrypted or not. Those factors, and primarily those factors, are what's going to dictate what you can retrieve from the cloud for an iPhone device. So in this instance, when that phone was purchased and her Apple account credentials were entered into that phone, everything that was on that phone on a particular date was then re-put onto that phone.
would the device that previously had that iCloud connected to it continue to receive phone calls or text messages?
No, based in the manner in which that phone was activated. So in essence, not only was the iCloud information put on it, but also a line of service was installed from Verizon itself. So now anytime someone called that phone number or sent it a message, it would be going to that new device. So hypothetically, even if her device that she possessed on 4/25/21 would miraculously turn itself back on, it would not be receiving service from Verizon once the other phone was purchased.
Oh, did y'all catch
You
that?
discussed May 2022 search where some electrical wiring
Very
got damaged
interesting.
on the Warner property. Is that accurate?
I remember speaking of that search, but the date escapes me.
Okay. And was that because you were doing digging, you said?
That's correct, with a small excavator.
All right. What happens when you damage someone's property while you're executing a search warrant?
That in part is why we take photographs before we start, when we find something, and as we're leaving, after we're done with the search, so we can document the condition of items like that. In that instance, and instances that are similar, the state of Michigan would be responsible for repairing the damage to that property.
You indicated on cross-examination that the JCB and the Kubota were searched by the Sheriff's Department prior to your involvement in this case. Is that accurate?
I know the JCB front end loader definitely was. I can't recall if they did like a forensic search of the Kubota or not.
But you weren't present for any of those searches, correct?
That's correct.
Do you know what was done during any of those searches?
I do not.
By the time that you came up with the theory on the JCB being involved, did you follow up and do any forensic evidence with the JCB?
The day that we did what I call the reenactment with the front end loader at the house, where you saw it pulled up to the house with the bucket extended, we had an evidence technician with us who did some swabbing at other parts of the property. He examined the bucket, and it had been clearly used so many times, and we've been so far since the incident had occurred that there was nothing to collect out of the bucket or the front end loader itself.
Dale Warner spoke to Kevin Greco multiple times throughout the course of the investigation, correct?
Yes.
And although we've seen a snippet of those interviews, would it be accurate to say that Kevin Greco did a lot of the talking?
Yes.
Hours worth of body camera footage?
Yes. Hours and hours.
During the course of your interview in December 2022, you asked the defendant about Dee being in Jamaica or Mexico. Why did you ask him that?
He was making statements to numerous people that was his belief at the time.
Okay. And how strong was he that she was in Jamaica or Mexico when he made these statements?
He seemed to be convinced that she had taken money from the business and that she escaped to one of those places.
I still want to know more about the safe.
We talked about the short paragraph in your report where you indicated that some of the defendant's statements were consistent. Is that
Yes,
fair? Did you also notice inconsistent statements?
absolutely.
Okay. And which statements were those?
Over the course of his multiple contacts in the coming weeks following her disappearance and in our interview, there were numerous items that were inconsistent with his statements. One of the most glaring ones was he initially states that he leaves the house around 6 a.m. and is gone farming. And it's not until someone notices the front end loader tracks leading up to the house from the JCB that he then recalls that he had to come back. His initial statement is that he comes back and looks in, he says, and she's sleeping. He then later states that he came back because he forgot something and re-entered the house and sees her still sleeping. The particular item that he collected also changes on several occasions. First, it was that he forgot to feed the dogs, and then it was that he forgot his tool, and eventually says that he forgot his piece of paper in the house. From there, there are numerous times that he changes the sleeping arrangements that night. Initially, he states that they both fell asleep. He falls asleep on the floor, so did she. He puts her on the couch, and then he returns to bed. That changes a little bit over time, but the most dramatically when he interviews with us, and he states that they both slept on the floor all night, and he sleeps on the floor every day. That was a big inconsistency. There was also inconsistencies about the amount of money that was missing from the house and the businesses and when he discovered that. Initially, he states that he's learning of it as it's happening and he's discovering it over time, but there was evidence to dispute that and show that he knew for some time that there was some extra spending coming from the businesses on her behalf.
In his initial statement to on April 26th, did the defendant indicate that that's why they were in fact going to see Craig, the counselor that you testified about earlier?
That's correct. That they were seeing the counselor because of the, I'm paraphrasing, but the money dishonesty or Dee Warner spending or something to that nature.
And then when he interviews with you, does he act like this is all brand new information?
When he interviews with us, he's stating that as he keeps looking into it more and more, he's discovering the money that she's been taking from the business.
In the beginning, what was the defendant's statement on how long Dee Warner would be gone?
That changes over time. Initially, when he meets with the sheriff's department, he says she'll be back in a couple days. And as a couple days come and go, it's a few more days. And as a few more days come and go, it's a week, and then a month, and then 6 months, and then he stops making any mention of when she'll be back at all.
No, because he
Do
was
you
on the
recall what length of
widower's
time-
side.
Or strike that. You recall what he
Dating.
indicated to you during your interview in December 2022 about not being worried about her being gone?
I don't recall, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Do you? I'll come back to that. During the course of the interview, the initial interviews, Dale Warner consistently says that he has a conversation with Dee about selling the businesses and being done with the businesses. Do you remember that?
Yes, he makes reference to that several times.
Okay. And during the interview with you in December of 2022, he makes mention of having discussions with Dee Warner about the grandkids.
Yes, he essentially states that, now looking back, I realize she wasn't done with me. She's done with business, and she wants to be with her grandkids more often.
And did he in fact say he had a conversation with her about staying home and watching the grandkids during that argument?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. First time you heard that?
Yes.
We discussed Greg Hardy and him allowing you to search his properties. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And the fact that he wouldn't allow you to search his phone during that family meeting at the sheriff's department. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Did you ever seek a search warrant on Greg Hardy's phone?
No, both Greg Hardy and the others at that meeting at the night consent, I did not have sufficient evidence or probable cause to get a search warrant for those devices at the time.
That's what he said.
After you found Dee Warner's body, did you return to the home to look for evidence of the homicide? In the living room, in the bedroom, anywhere?
We did return to the farm.
Let me be specific. Any physical DNA evidence?
No, we did go back into the home, but typically for a homicide, in this case was no different. The lead investigators are present for the autopsy with the medical examiner, so they can see for themselves the injuries, they can discuss them with the doctor, and they can get a better feel for if there was an instrument involved in an injury, for instance. In this instance, we were confident that the injuries did not result in any external bleeding. Therefore,
Objection. That's not what Dr. Cho said. So I don't know who he's saying we were confident. I don't know who we is.
The
Dr. Cho testified that he didn't, the
exactly.
injuries didn't necessarily mean that she bled out.
Okay,
there-
that's different than what Detective Jury has testified to, and I think the criticism is that he's using the term "we," and we don't know who "we" is.
Okay.
Okay, I get
Can
that
you
part.
rephrase?
yes, in reviewing the injuries with Dr. Cho and having an understanding of the previous searches in the residence that did not reveal the discovery of blood within the house, we were confident that if we went back, we would not find it because it likely was not there.
Again, I know you indicated you didn't search the JCB when you went in January of 2024, but after you found her body, did you attempt to look for the JCB again?
No, for the same reasoning.
The items that were seized by the FBI in October of 2021, the journals and the loose leaf pages, after you found the tank, did you attempt to send those journals and the tag from the tank to the lab?
Are you referring to a handwriting analysis?
Correct.
No, I did not.
Okay, why not?
A handwriting analysis to match one person's handwriting to a known sample, you have to have a library of comparison statements. So for instance, if I were to write, I'm sick and want to go home today, the people that do that evaluation at the lab would require a volume of that same thing written over and over by the person that you're suspecting of doing it. And in this instance, because that would be coming from Mr. Warner, who wasn't cooperative,
Oh, but you
there
didn't
would
know
not be a
about
value
all
to that
those
type of
journals,
evaluation. You'd
maybe.
be forcing him to write these same things. And he would know it's
Oh,
for
that
comparison value.
writing.
Okay. And
Find
Additionally,
out about that until later.
because of the volume of items that he had written within the journals, we had a witness identify his handwriting from the journals, matching the handwriting on the tag that was on the tank.
Yep. That ding, 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 ding.
I'm going to move to strike that last statement as it would entail hearsay. We don't know who this witness is. They didn't come and testify in court.
Yeah, they did.
that simply went to his state of mind on why he didn't send it to the lab. If
No,
the court wants to strike it,
no.
the court can strike it, but it just goes.
No. There was somebody that was asked on the witness stand if the tag on the tank was Dale's handwriting. Did they recognize that as Dale's handwriting? I know I heard that myself. I don't know what Shardy Pants is talking about because it absolutely was testified to in this trial. What is she doing? Ugh. This is the stuff. This is why we watch trials.
His state of mind on why he didn't send that item to the lab. It's not hearsay.
I think it's permissible for the non-hearsay purpose of explaining why it was not sent to the lab. It's not admissible for the truth of the underlying matter.
No, because that truth already came in.
When you are involved
That
in
matter.
any type of investigation, but specifically a homicide, when you find the body, why do you send it to the medical examiner?
The medical examiner and the autopsy are going to be crucial for the homicide investigation, as they're going to give you a cause and manner of death. For instance, I've been involved in shooting investigations where you believe someone was shot twice, but when you get to the autopsy, you find out they were shot 4 times with 2 different caliber bullets. That changes the direction of the investigation. So the body of a person has copious amounts of evidence when you're investigating a homicide, as it did in this instance.
What about a person's cell phone?
Yes, a person's cell phone in general is an extremely valuable tool in investigations. In this instance, Dee Warner's cell phone would have had a library of information on it. For instance, she regularly wore an Apple Watch,
Oh,
which would have
tell
been
us
collecting
about
health data.
Apple
Therefore,
Watch.
if we would have had her phone, it would have told us a more precise time that she would have died. Additionally, her phone would have showed if she had any communication leading up to anyone or attempted communication leading up to her alleged disappearance.
You took the watch off her. Where's the watch?
Mayor, at this time, I would like to move to
What happened
publish
with
People's
watch?
Exhibit 234 so the jury can see the duct tape from the tank for themselves.
I'm going to zippity doo dah past this. While they're looking at the duct tape in the little packet. Oh, Dorky Dale there. I didn't hear anything
Detective
about
Dreyer,
the
when you were
watch.
talking about the
Like, where did it
second
go?
phone where Ms. Warner's data was moved to, when did you say that was purchased?
I don't believe I set a date, ma'am.
Okay.
I know shortly, sometime after her disappearance is when it went into service.
Do you want to look at a report to refresh your memory? It was the fall of 2021.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, Ms. Saylor's going to go up there and
Note on the side?
Yes, it says here in the fall of 21.
Okay, does that refresh your memory?
Yes, sorry, I was verifying for a separate reason. Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you. And then you indicated police didn't even try to swab that JCB, the front loader, correct? In terms of the Michigan State Police at any point in time.
That's correct.
Now, you indicated that Detective Greca did do a lot of talking in the interviews with Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner didn't just sit there silently, though. He also would talk back, correct?
Can I revisit the last question, ma'am? I want to
Sure.
make sure I'm clear. So my evidence technician, while doing other work on the property, evaluated the JCB and found that it wasn't suitable for that type of evidence collection. I just wanted to be clear. Sorry.
Were you present when that happened?
Yes.
And why was that?
Just based on the length of time since the disappearance, and you could see recent wear and tear and debris within the device itself.
Now, again, going to Detective Greca's interviews, you said he talked a lot during the interviews.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Warner didn't just sit there silently, though. He also talked back, correct?
Yes.
I mean, we've seen a portion of those during the course of the trial. You'd agree?
Yes, ma'am.
And you'd also agree there were probably 30 plus phone conversations and meetings between Detective Greca and Mr. Warner, right?
I would have no way to quantify those, but I know they spoke on the phone.
Pretty regularly.
I'm not sure how often. I know that they talked on the phone a reason. I'm not sure how to articulate it about how frequently or not.
Sure.
That's
so
a
if
little
you
odd.
could tally up in your head, how many interviews do you
Oh.
think there were?
In person?
Sure.
Between Kevin Greca and Dale Warner.
Yes.
At least 6, if not 10.
So somewhere between 6 and 10. And then do you know how many phone calls?
I couldn't tell you how many phone calls. Probably at least that many, an equivalent amount.
Wow.
Now, you said that you never asked Mr. Warner for any sort of handwriting comparison where he would write the same sentence over and over again. I guess, or you didn't even try, right? You said he wasn't cooperative, but the reality is you didn't even ask him if he would do it, correct?
That's correct.
Now, you also used the term we when you said blood would likely not be there. Who were you referring to as the we?
He clarified
Is
that.
that you and Detective Singleton?
Pay the freaking.
Yes, in response to information we learned from the medical examiner, Dr. Cho.
Yeah, from
Now,
Dr.
your
Cho.
interview with Mr. Warner and Mr. Lieb, that was in December of 2022, right before the holidays. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And then Ms. Warner went missing on or about April 25th, 2021, correct?
Yes.
Would you expect every detail of a memory to be the same from April of 2021 to December of 2022?
Every detail, no, but if my wife went missing abruptly,
I'm not
I would.
asking about what you would do. I'm asking, as a police officer, would you expect when someone is talking about
He's
something
gonna get it
multiple
out anyway.
times in a year, at that point, and roughly 8 months later, would you expect the narrative to be exactly the same?
Yes.
The narrative, yes.
You wouldn't expect any difference in detail.
There would be variation in detail, but the narrative would remain consistent if it was truthful.
Sure. So consistent narrative, but details would be different. I think that's what
Yes.
you just said,
Yep.
correct? And then did Mr. Warner ever tell you, his memory isn't always the greatest?
I wouldn't deny that he's told me that, but I can't think of a particular time that he would have said that to me.
I have no additional questions. Thank you, sir.
Oh boy. Take that away.
I just have 2 questions.
Take it away.
The device that you seized in May of 22 and sent to the lab, is that the device you were indicating the iCloud was placed on in the fall of 21? Does that make sense?
The device that I seized in May of 22 was the device that Ms. Shardy refreshed me on from the activation of the fall of 21.
Correct.
Yes.
Do you know?
That's my belief. It's my understanding.
Okay. Do you know if between April 29, 2021 and May 2022, when you seized that phone, if there was another phone in the interim that had that information on it?
Oh.
Between 4/29/21 and when I seized it?
Correct. Do you know if there was a separate device that had that information on it?
No.
Oh.
The conversations between Kevin Greca and the defendant, sometimes did they discuss fishing?
Yes.
Did they discuss hunting?
Yes.
Did they discuss
Oh.
Canada?
Yes.
Talk about camping?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We
just a lot of
saw
stuff,
that.
right?
Yes.
Okay. nothing.
Football.
When you were doing your interview with Mr. Warner and Detective Singleton, was there conversation about or jokes about your wife, what she would allow you to do, what she wouldn't allow you to do?
Are you going to tattle on me?
I am. Hopefully, she's not listening to this.
I'm in trouble. I can
She's
promise you.
Right.
But yes, that's accurate. Yes,
You
ma'am.
engaged in that same sort of banter, so to speak, correct?
Yes.
Maybe to a lesser
Wonderful.
degree than Detective Greca, but still existed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. No additional questions.
Y'all. Oh, we got questions. I just want everybody to understand and know if Ms. D goes missing, I would like Detective Lieutenant Daniel Dreyer to be in charge of finding me. I just want you all to know that.
Okay, we have several questions from jurors. The first is, did you ever do any tests for blood in the house, bucket for JCB, spray barn, or safe?
Some testing was done initially by the FBI in the fall of 21, but by the time we got involved, we did not observe a need to do so.
Okay, follow-up question, I think you answered, but I'll ask it anyways, is if yes, did any of the tests come back positive for blood?
None of the tests that were done in the fall by the FBI came back positive.
Okay, this I think has already been answered as well, but was the writing on the tag on the tank determined to be in Dale's handwriting?
Yes.
Did you check the black box on the Hummer to see?
She fought so hard for him to not answer that question. And what ends up happening? A juror asks it anyway. I love this jury. There is so much about this trial that I love. It is so refreshing to see our judicial system working the way that it's supposed to. Smart juries asking great questions, legal arguments that are sound and make sense, a judge that rules fairly from the bench and isn't trying to hide things and pull any shenanigans, witnesses from law enforcement that are honest and forthright and not evasive. There are so many things about this particular trial that I like, how, as far as how it's been conducted, and especially the jury questions. Love it. We're going to go back.
Did you check the black box on the Hummer to see if it was turned on and moved on Sunday morning?
Yes,
Ooh.
I can explain if you'd like, Jeff.
I will leave that for the attorneys to follow up on.
The
Were you ever
Hummer
concerned that
black
Kevin
box.
Greca may have had more than a professional relationship with the owner, such as a friendship?
No.
Oh boy. Oh boy. He said no.
What was the device in question used in tracking heart rate, distance traveled, and stairs climbed in reviewing data collected?
Those questions were in reference to Dale Warner's Apple Watch that he wore on his wrist, and a combination of some data is collected from your phone in addition to that.
Was the duct tape on Dee's body, along with the duct tape on the outside of the blue tarp she was wrapped in, also black in color?
Yes.
Is it common for an officer to remove his body cam and continue an investigation?
Oh.
I have a hard time answering yes or no to that question. There's some variables there.
Oh, she'll follow
Why
up.
did the Google search of liquid cremation flag your attention, and only the other Google search about disposing a tank?
That search also piqued our interest, but when we were referring to the disposal of the tank, we were referencing that being very early in the investigation and what kind of supported our welding theory. So the cremation search also was something of noteworthiness to us, but that was not discovered until sometime later. The search itself wasn't discovered on the device until later.
Is there proof that Dale went to Findlay, Ohio on the weekend of Dee missing?
Yes, he went to Findlay, Ohio on 4/24.
On that Saturday.
That is all of the questions. Ms. Wise, do you have any follow-up
Oh,
questions?
these are fantastic questions. Okay.
You indicated that you did something with a black box on the Hummer.
Yes.
What black box are you talking about?
The black box is a common term used for a portion of the computer in the car that police or other investigators may use if the vehicle is involved in a crash or accident. In other words, if in a separate unrelated example, if you were to be in your vehicle and collide with another vehicle, the black box is very likely to contain the rate of impact, if you're wearing your seatbelt, if you applied the brakes, some information like that. Some more advanced models also have some additional data. In this instance, we reviewed the specific Hummer in question with a person from our department that specializes in that type of information extraction, along with other information extraction from vehicles. And unfortunately, we were unable to obtain any data from the specific Hummer based on how old it was.
Somebody on that jury is either,
And I believe that you already answered this question, but I just want to follow.
they may work for the automotive industries, because don't forget, this is in Michigan. You're very close to the big three. So it's possible someone on this jury either works for the automotive industry, used to work for the automotive industry, or has a family member or a loved one, someone close to them that works in the automotive industry, because that's how they would know there'd be a black box in a Hummer. Smart jury question.
Up. As far as after you found Dee Warner's body, were you able to locate that safe that was in the spray barn?
The specific safe that I observed on the property, I never found again, which is why I found a similar make and model elsewhere.
The
Never
Dale Warner's Apple
found
Watch
it
that we
again.
talked about earlier,
Yes, ma'am.
I believe when Ms. Chartier pointed out to the section of the police report where that data was that limited data that you were given by the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department?
Limited, especially in comparison to what we received later on.
Okay, and describe what you mean by limited.
Going back to the type of extraction that was done from his device with that, the metaphor I gave about the B level license, when we later did it with that A level license, I was able to get more in-depth data for those hours that she was referencing.
Okay.
And USMC, not only is Saline right up the road, you're really not that far away from Dearborn, which is where Ford is, and you're not that far away from Milford, where the General Motors proving grounds are. So there are lots of places right around there that people that could have been working in the automotive industry. So yes, I agree. It's all around the area.
Did you do anything additional with that data?
Yes, I evaluated the more in-depth data. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you did that independently, not with any assistance from anybody with Apple or a doctor or anything like that?
That's correct.
You indicated that the defendant went to Findlay, Ohio on April 24th, 2021?
Yes.
Okay, and he didn't spend the night in Findlay that night, correct?
No, he went in the afternoon hours with an employee to pick up a truck and returned home, and then goes about his evening chores when he arrives home for a moment and is in passing with his daughter, Lena. She's leaving. So he's home well before that.
You were asked about body cameras and if it would be common to take off your body camera when you're doing certain things. And you indicated that's not a yes or no. Can you describe what you mean by that?
The use of a body camera is can be very dependent on the circumstance and situations that you're in. So in my current role, I'm executing more high-risk search warrants on a regular basis where there could be there's a more likelihood of violence at the search warrants I'm executing. So you typically are going to keep your vest and your body camera on for a longer period of time. Separate than that, if I'm engaged with someone, a suspect or a witness or person of interest, I'm going to remain with that body camera on also. That's not to say that there haven't been times where you secure a scene, the risk of harm to you and others has now gone down, everything is safe. It's not uncommon for police to take their vests off, and our policy supports the fact that we would no longer wear our camera. And through that, sometimes a neighbor or another person will wander over and start speaking with you, so those may not be recorded. But the use of a camera, it's very fluid.
Take his vest off.
You want it on for every time you're going to have contact with people that might say something at the point of interest.
He's
Absolutely.
just a crappy employee.
You should try your best to do that.
As a manager, it tweaks me to have somebody
You
like
said that the
that
FBI had,
so poorly.
to make sure, conducted testing of the home swabs, the Munger property in the fall, correct?
The fall of 21, yes, ma'am.
Fall of 21. Is it your understanding that the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department did that at the end of April in 2021 as well?
I don't know that to be true, no, ma'am.
Did you review any report that indicated that?
I could be wrong, ma'am, but I don't recall any.
Would looking at a report refresh your memory?
Yeah, yes, please.
Again, I'd like to know on the basis of knowledge, he wasn't there with the Sheriff's Department and he's just reviewing reports. His testimony would be hearsay.
So this does go to the investigation. He's talking about the FBI doing this testing and swabbing in the fall of 2021. The fact that if he knows, if the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department did it in the spring of 2021, it certainly would go to, is there a need to do it again? Because two different agencies have done it.
The objection wasn't relevant. It's
Hearsay.
she's just asking at this point to see if she can refresh the recollection. So I don't think we're at the point where the objection would be appropriate. It's a foundational objection, not a relevance objection. I don't think there's any issue with trying to refresh the witness's memory, so she can do that.
Which line report are you looking at?
She's
Number
like,
3.
what are you looking at?
Ms. Chartier?
Mhm.
This is property item entry. This isn't really indicative of a report.
So
Whoa.
I wanted to see if that refreshed your memory and if looking at a lab report on that item would refresh your memory. Would you like to look at the lab report?
It does not refresh my memory, and this is not indicative of the search that you're referring to.
Okay, would the lab report you think refresh your memory?
If the lab report is only referencing this, then it's not going to refresh my memory. No, ma'am.
So I just want to make sure, looking at a lab report with swabs from the house would not refresh your memory.
You can show it to me, but if it's referring to this specific thing right here, this is not indicative of a search that you're referring to.
Okay, so if it's not going to refresh your memory, we don't need to go through anything
Okay.
further. So your understanding is the first time the house was
Wow,
swabbed
what a
from
great
your memory
witness.
was in the fall of 2021.
I'm referring to the use of that chemical known as luminol to search for blood and canvassing in an area. Yes, ma'am.
And if anything happened before with the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department, you just don't remember it or you're not aware of it. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, thank you. No additional questions.
Okay, guys, I think we're closing in on the end of this day here. I'm going to zippity-doo-dah to see if we got anything else important. The
Let's
last,
try to start any new witnesses. So we will excuse you for the day, and we will come back, return tomorrow at 9 a.m.
okay.
Thank you.
And
During the
he-
trial, the case must meet certain.
He admonishes
Because
them,
usually
of
favor
course. I think that the jury rather likes Judge Olsaver, and I can't blame them. Can you blame them? What's not to like about Judge Olsaver? So let me take care of some business here. I know I said this once already, but thank you so much, Kelly, for your super chat. Welcome to the Chickadee Coop, Denise. You now get to be a baby chick with so many others. And also, thank you for your super sticker that you sent. We very much, I say we, it's just me. I very much appreciate it. And Melissa, thank you so much for your little super chat that you gave there. I do appreciate it. And welcome again to Livy. She is now a baby chick with all the rest of you. After 6 months, you get to become a full-blown chickadee. So stick with us. I want to thank all of you for hanging out tonight. If you're on replay crew, you got to give me some comments, man. If you can, I understand that sometimes the comment thing goes a little haywire in YouTube. I don't have any control over that. I'm terribly sorry. And don't forget to like, hit the little thumbs up button, leave some DNA there for me, please. And remember, no live stream tomorrow night. We will not be meeting at 6:00 p.m. Central Time tomorrow night because I have a fundraiser to go to. But we will be back here on Wednesday, and I'm thinking it's going to be around 1:30-ish. And so we will go from 1:30 until whenever we need to finish day 11 and 12 of testimony. I think we are getting dangerously close to the end of the state's case. I'm not entirely sure who else. Maybe Greg Hardy. They may call Greg Hardy tomorrow. But there's a really strong possibility they may have powwow this evening and then tomorrow morning come in and say the state rests. And we'll be then on to the defense case, if the defense plans to put on a case at all. And Eve says they definitely dropped the ball in the first year, and Greg Hardy was embarrassing them in the media with his investigation results. So this guy was brought in to shore up the investigation. Absolutely. Let me tell you, I look at the Michigan State Police coming in on the Lenawee County Sheriff's Office as like a investigation of the investigation. And let's make sure we're tying up all the loose ends. That's what it looks like to me as just an outsider. But there's still Greca Hardy and private investigations mess this case up. I think there's plenty here. There is more than enough. So I don't want to keep anybody any later. I got to get my beauty sleep. You know how that is. I'm just an old hag trying to keep up. And so I got to get as much rest as possible. I got to choke some food down and go to bed. But we'll be back here on Wednesday afternoon, 1:30 Central Time. I'm pretty sure is when I'm going to start. I don't think I'll start earlier than that. It might be at 1 o'clock. I'll send the notification out. If you became a subscriber, make sure you hit the notifications so you know. And, oh, Judes, I didn't even know you were with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining. And the rest of you, you know how it goes. It doesn't cost a penny to be kind. So find someone to do something nice for today if you haven't already. And always, always, always